fantasy. this galaxy in my mind I've made for you. This tragedy comes to life out of the blue. And I don't know why, but I feel most alive when I'm searching for these signs of life, in the hopes that they'll lead to you. There's a fantasy in my mind I've made for you. The agony comes to life in waves of blue. And I don't know why, but I'm drifting away from you. Oh, I'm drifting away from this galaxy inside of me.
And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's been a pretty good day here. Not too bad. Had some really exciting events happen today. Been a little while since we streamed. As you might know if you've been here before. If not, welcome to the stream. Every Sunday, we do edit puppy photographs from our local shelter. My wife and I volunteer at a local county animal shelter. We go up, take photographs to help promote these dogs through social media, on their websites, things of that nature. So I do thank you for dropping by. So today, very interesting day. We didn't take pictures last week because I was under the weather. Wasn't feeling real good. Didn't think it was a great idea. So this week, getting ready to go. Well, my wife hurt her foot yesterday. We think she might have actually broken her little toe, which I can't do anything about. So I had to reach out to some other volunteers to see if I could get somebody to help me, because doing it by myself is just next to impossible. And I had someone say, yeah, I'll be up there. I'll help you out. I was like, great, I'll be up shortly. So as I'm going up there, I get a phone call from this volunteer. It's like, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to back out of that. And I was like, well, what, why is that? And it seems that this volunteer was with another individual that was there looking at animals. And they were out walking a dog that this lady was interested in. And unbeknownst to both of them, this dog had a pretty heavy prey drive. And they have some small animals at the shelter for the sake of testing animals for such things. And they were out walking this dog, and that dog seen a chicken. And that dog just lunged out. And the lady that was there looking for dogs was caught unaware and ended up getting her arm yanked into some fencing. And it sliced her arm really, really good. Really upset the other volunteer. So I said, well, I'm on my way up anyway. I'll come up. If you're not up for it, that's fine. I'll come up and we'll just see how it goes. So I get up there, and she was pretty shooken up about the whole ordeal. It was a pretty big ordeal. And another volunteer was there and said, you know what? You go ahead and go home and take a breath about it. I'll help you out. I'll help him out and help him get the picture. So fortunately, thankfully for volunteers, we were able to get pictures today. So that's why we're here today. I was a bit worried that we weren't going to have them today because of several issues that came up. So I'm glad all that worked out. The lady that had her arm cut, I'm sure she'll be fine. An ambulance did come and they did take her off, but she seemed totally fine when she was leaving. So I do hope that she's all right and everything works out for her and her family. As far as the dog, I don't know which dog it was. I didn't inquire about it. But it's something that if you volunteer at animal shelters, you kind of get a sense of as you do more with the shelter and with animals, specifically dogs and larger dogs, is that you never really know a dog. You never really know what they're capable of or what their behavior's like, unless you really take the time to understand them, and you're always ready. So, just a word to those of you that are out there helping, and it's so much needed and so greatly appreciated. But don't let your guard down, because things can happen. And yes, it was a complete accident. It was nobody's fault. It just happened. But it makes you, kind of wakes you up a little bit and says, hey, this isn't just some passive thing you get used to doing. You constantly have to be vigilant about what's going on. But we had lots of great dogs today. We're actually still catching up. Even though I missed last week, there's another photographer team that works the shelter as well. We're actually catching up, which is great. We're kind of in the middle of a hot season for animals. You'll find a lot of the shelters around the United States are really busy this time of year, are overflowing with animals. They really need the help. If you can volunteer, please do. If you can donate, please do. If you can advocate for any animals, please do. Anything you can do to help, whether it's dogs, cats, horses, whatever your animal of choice is, highly recommend to get involved. Even if it is something as simple as following your local shelter or rescue's Facebook and sharing their posts about animals to your friends and family. That little, just that one thing makes a massive difference. So even if that is all you do, it is such a wonderful thing and works out so well for everybody involved. And there are a lot of other benefits to it as well, which if anybody's curious about what some of those things might be, or if you have questions, I am not a know-it-all, I'm not an expert on the subject, but I'm happy to answer within the realm of my own experience and what you might be able to do. There's fostering, adopting animals yourselves. There's so many different ways and things you can do to help. So any help is greatly appreciated. So today we got, I think we did get actually 10 dogs, or really close to. A lot of really great dogs today. We had one. Vixie Rose, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for coming to see us. The one dog was a little bit hyper. A German Shepherd, and he was a little younger, and it seemed that his issue was he needed work, even if it was something as simple as tying a backpack on him. I think it would have helped. Bit tired, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. It has been a very strange week for me. Just like nothing big happening, but lots of little stuff. So I've been kind of all over the place. So it was kind of nice today to hop back into the routine of getting things ready and getting the stream ready, and then going up and getting my dog pictures and working with the shelter, and then coming back and offloading those, get everything going. Completely know the feeling. Yeah. It's streaming is something for sure. You either like it or you don't, and it takes a lot of work. Pixie Rose with the host, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, and so do all these wonderful animals. And one of the big reasons that I stream this is because I do this regardless of whether I stream it or not. This is something I do from a local shelter, and this gave me yet another opportunity to advocate for animals to everyone that might be interested in this process. So you could do the same thing if it's something you're interested in. You don't need a bunch of fancy tools. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. You don't have to go as crazy as I seem to sometimes with this whole process. Something as simple as going up, taking okay pictures with a phone, and providing those to your shelter or rescue sometimes can be a big difference in what they have available to them. So don't rule it out. Check around. See what you might be able to do there. So as always, we are going to go through here and we are going to collapse all these into stacks, and I'm hoping the stream works well. I've been playing around with some of the settings again for Photoshop and Lightroom, getting them to render properly within the stream, because the way they render sometimes can be a little screwy. I need to make some more time to volunteer at our shelter. Anything you can do, I'm sure, is greatly appreciated by your shelter, even if it's a matter of an hour a week going and walking a dog, or just interacting with the cats or anything of that nature. Badger, hi, how are you? How's it going? Puppy stream returns. Yeah, last week, unfortunately, I was under the weather. I had a bit of a stomach bug going on, and I didn't think it was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't want to take it to the shelter. I didn't want to, some of those things you can give to the animals as well. I didn't want to risk that. So we just stayed home last week. But this week, and I don't know if you missed the story there at the beginning, we almost didn't get pictures today for a couple of reasons. That was a really interesting set of events. But we did get them. And we got some pretty good ones. We did get some help from different people today, because the wife's kind of out this week. So the pictures that we got are just as good. And we have a lot of cute dogs to see today. A lot of cute dogs. So we're going to put these into stacks. And this helps me kind of keep them all the dogs together in one nice, neat pile. We did, of course, as several of the past Sundays, have that sun popping in and out all the time, which makes it challenging, to say the least, to try to keep your exposures at least within the realm of proper. I do shoot in RAW, which gives me a lot of latitude for adjusting these in post, so I don't go too crazy with making sure the exposure is just right on each one, because ultimately, again, as long as I don't blow it out, it'd be just fine. It'll work out just fine. All these do get exported in low resolution, just for online use, social media, web, things of that nature. We're not looking for high quality print stuff, though I'm sure some of them will come out that way. That's not really the focus of this. It's outside of the scope of what we're trying to accomplish here. What we try to accomplish here, if you're new here, and again, thank you for coming by, what we try to accomplish here is we take animals that have come into the shelter recently, and all they've pretty much got, if anything, is a kind of a mug shot from a cell phone, something of that nature. And they're generally not very flattering of the dog. And we replace them with a little bit better pictures. And that's our goal, is to just replace the not so great pictures with some better pictures. And we do that by going through a list on the website of seeing which dogs don't have great pictures, put a list together, go up there, pull one dog out at a time, get their pictures, put them back, come back here, unload them onto the desktop, and edit away. And then we'll first, of course, be here in Lightroom, and we'll set white balance and maybe might think with some of the colors and some of the exposure levels, and get everything looking pretty good. And then we will go over and take each picture over to Photoshop. We'll remove the leash, and sometimes the collar, depending on what we think the image might need. But this is way more than you would need to do if this is something you wanted to do for your local shelter rescue. And it's not a super complicated process. The hardest part of this whole process is just getting the software. I do have the Creative Cloud, which gives me access to all of Adobe's software, but I do this, for a living. So, that's not an issue for me. I have it anyway. So we just use that to help the puppies. So one downside, and again, I kind of re-explain things at the beginning of each stream for the new people that might come in. The downside to the application that our shelter uses on the web is that the images they're all required to be in a 1:1 aspect ratio, which means a perfect square. Well, that more often than not does not work very well for a decently composed photograph, at least of dogs. It can work out fine for like a headshot, but if you're trying to do body shots and things like that, it's not super flattering. And you'll notice that as we go through here, we just compromise composition to get the whole dog in the picture or something of that nature. But that's just one of my pet peeves. So one of the first things we have to do with each image, and we'll go through and we're going to go ahead. Actually, we're first going to apply our lens corrections. And this is just basically going to take the barrel distortion off the image from whatever lens that we had used, get some of the rid of some of the vignette if that particular lens carries any, and that'll help with that. And we'll copy all these settings off to be able to just simply paste them onto the other pictures. And we're going to go in here and we are going to change this to a 1:1. And I take a picture of a kennel card before I take a picture of each dog when possible, which is most of the time. And the reason I do that is, one, an identifier that for me visually that this is the dog. But it also contains a lot of useful information that we'll use. One, to curate their each dog will get one picture that I will do that will have their name on it and their breed and things. And again, that's a whole thing for Instagram and social media that the shelter uses. They'll use that particular one as their primary image, so because it gives a lot more information about the dog at a glance. So we're going to leave white balance alone on that. We got our crop and we have our lens correction on there. So I am going to go ahead and copy that. Develop settings, copy set. And I know this menu goes off your screen sometimes. Actually, the menu doesn't even show up. Like right now, I've got a great big copy settings panel in front of my window, and you guys don't see it. Again, it's just the way Photoshop and Lightroom render, because they use some of the GPU optimizations and OpenGL and things like that. It makes it very difficult for software like OBS to capture the program properly without just flat out doing like a desktop capture, which doesn't work super well to me. But I'm just going to copy over, again, the treatment profile lens corrections. Copy that. So now when we go to a picture that we want to use, we'll just paste it on. So there's 3 kind of images I'm looking for here. I'm looking for a face shot, a body shot, and either a personality shot or a cute shot or a creative shot, just some other random shot that might say something about the dog or present them in a very good way. It doesn't necessarily have to be shot as a face shot. As a matter of fact, oftentimes I won't shoot specifically, other than maybe body shots, I won't shoot specifically for that shot, because taking photographs of dogs is a lot like photographing a toddler of walking age. If you've ever tried to do that, niece or nephew, son, daughter, whatever, you kind of just have to get the camera ready and set up the environment and wait until what you want happens, or they look at you or whatever, and then you click it. It works a lot the same with dogs. Is you kind of set up the environment the way you want and hope that they behave in a way that will get you the images you want in the end. So when I photograph them, I'm usually zoomed out quite a bit, and I'm in general going to capture their whole body, but I might only use the headshot of that. It depends. Maybe they were spinning their head too quickly and it ends up all blurry. There are so many factors in it that I try to give myself the most options I can on the back end. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. The recycle time on my flash isn't super fantastic. Sometimes I get a good shot, lost the flash, so we got to do a little bit of post editing to make, brighten it up or something of that nature. But we want a headshot, a body shot, and a personality shot. So this is Sigrid, and again, this is the kind of picture. While it is a very cute picture, I'm trying to get it to zoom out here, and it's not behaving. There we go. While it's kind of a cute picture, it's still not super flattering. Now, it's a very submissive photo in the point that, and this just comes down to composition in general, the photographs being taken at a down angle, and the same thing works for people as well. Take it at a down angle and it makes the person more submissive. And while that can be a good thing in some cases, I don't find it very flattering for the animal. I like to do it in more of a neutral stance, which is more of a straight on sort of stance. Now, sometimes they'll get up so close to me that it just happens that I do get a bit of a down angle on it. So it's not super critical. And again, this isn't stuff that's super important. I'm just kind of explaining why I do what I do and how I do what I do. Take with it from, what you will. If any of it works for you, fantastic. Use it. If you got questions about it, fantastic. Ask. If it doesn't work for you, great. Come up with your own. It's your style. It's your art. It's your time. You do whatever you think works best for you. And that's exactly what you should be doing. So face, that's a super cute face shot. Very cute. Super sharp. A little bit bright, a little bit blown out. Barely. Not a big deal. And I was playing with my shutter speed here. Here we're only at 200ths of a second. I think I ended up shooting around 320 or 400 for most of them when the sun was out to knock that out. Yeah, here we went up to 320. And it looks like, we pretty much lost all the blood on it. A couple little hot spots, nothing big. Didn't get a flash on that one. Another super cute one. More of a body shot here. And these are the kind of things that people want to see when they come looking at animals. Oh yeah, they're so cute. They're so adorable. And most of them are so damn sweet. If animals are something, again, I photograph animals, dogs specifically, a lot of them, because that's just the role that I was most needed in, and I have an affinity towards dogs, and so does my wife. We also photograph cats. I photographed horses. I've been asked to come over to a friend of ours' farm. They got a baby donkey. She wants to get some pictures of them. They have some senior pets of theirs that are very close to the family. They want some pictures of before they pass. So one of the reasons I love doing photography is because it is the only profession that I can think of in the world where you get to stop time for people. The only one, other than perhaps a painter or something of that, a portrait painter, something of that nature. But that's a very powerful statement. but it's also, it makes people feel very vulnerable if you're into portrait photography. So, you know, it's a very interesting field to say the least, but I love it. I love doing it. I am not the greatest at it, but the whole idea of it and taking those skill sets and taking, you know, what I might do in portrait photography or model photography or commercial photography, and taking those skill sets and transferring them over to support my local community through volunteering is a awesome bonus to the whole ordeal, and it's why I do it. We love doing it. I am not wealthy by any far stretch of the imagination, but we do okay. And this is our way to give back to our local community and help support it. And as well as the animals, of course. I have a super soft spot for the animals. So we need to pick a face shot here. Which one are we gonna pick? I'll turn that on just so I can kind of see. That one's really cute, but I think I might use that for a different shot. Very inquisitive look. That's pretty cute. That's a little more natural though. I think I like that one better just because it's a little more natural. And one thing I didn't do that I was going to do on this one was I was going to copy off the crop. That way we didn't have to do it every time. And I know you can't see this particular panel. Oh, it already had aspect ratio on. Okay. And again, I'm not sure why it doesn't render those menus for you guys, but it doesn't. Very true. I'm no expert photographer, but I treasure all the pictures I took of people, pets that have passed. Yeah. And it's an interesting time for us because of technology. You know, there's a lot of phones out there or, you know, little point and shoot cameras that do a really, really good job of taking pictures. But, and that's great. However, what people don't, wow, that got really dark. What people don't think about is what about the print? What about, you know, the things that go on your wall? Or, you know, the stuff, the ones that go in your wallet. While digital, and they say once you put something on the internet is there forever, which, you know, may very well be true. However, you know, I think one of the most powerful uses of photography that I can think of, there's two. For me, they may be totally different for you, and that's fine. The two most powerful uses of photography for me are at a funeral. Where you can go in and there's usually a board or two that have a lot of photographs of that individual and things they might have done and the people in their lives that mattered much to them. And being able to have those images to share, I think is a very powerful thing. And thus is the power of photography. But if the only pictures you have are on your phone, and you have to unfortunately go through an event like that where you're the one that has to provide some of these things, you start, you know, hustling around trying to print off these phone pictures that are probably too low resolution to be printing to begin with. They're not very flattering, which I know is not the point of it. The point is just to have the picture there. But our generations are losing the whole print thing. It's all on digital. They don't care about the prints anymore. And, you know, I get it. It's sad. I love prints. I have a massive Canon Pro 2000 printer in the other room that prints 48-inch by however big I want pictures. Love the feel of a good print. Maybe that's just a creative in me. But I really do enjoy that. And I really wish more people would think in that sense. The other reason that it's one of the main reasons I got into photography. And I'm sharing a little bit of personal information here, which I don't typically do on the stream because everybody's got their own shit. They don't need to hear mine too. But I had not the greatest childhood. I wasn't physically abused or anything like that. There was a lot of mental abuse in the family though, and there was a long story behind that. But anyway, my mother in particular was always kind of belittled and told she was no good or not pretty enough and things like that. And I think that's what kind of formed that for me, is when I do photography, my main goal in doing the photography in general was for women with low self-esteem. thinking that they're not good enough, they're not pretty enough, they can't put on enough makeup, their hair's the wrong color, it's the wrong length, they're the wrong size. It's bullshit. Come to my studio, sit in my chair. In 1 hour, I will prove to you in more than one way how you're wrong. And I've done that many, many times. And it is such an awesome feeling to help people feel better about themselves, and particularly the ladies, to help them feel better about themselves and who they are and what they represent. And again, it's different for everybody. That's how I kind of got into it. Well, I've always been a creative. That was one of my big reasons I kind of jumped off the edge and really got into it and really wanted to understand. And you'll notice that if you see Impoverish, hey, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I haven't caught you in a while. I don't know if you've been streaming. I've been really busy, so I do apologize for that, for not getting by there to see you. But thanks for coming by. But if you've been by any of my streams where you've seen some of my studio work of models or individuals or whatever, one of the big things that I do in my own art style is a very moody type of artwork. And it's for me, it's that connection of the mood and the emotion to the image. When the image does more than, hey, that's a picture of so and so. When it makes you think about it or feel a little something, those are my goals when I do my studio type photography, when I do my artwork. So I'm on day 4 of experimenting with flash speed lights. Awesome. Yeah, so all the images I capture, all sharp and in focus. So that was a first. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, it can be a tricky thing, and there can be times when it still doesn't work for you very well. It's just trial and error. Don't be scared of it. Get out there and experiment. That's the best advice I can give. And I need to turn my ceiling fan on here because I'm already frying, so bear with me 1 second here. Oh, I know I got the puppy cam on and we don't have a puppy in here right now. I think they're in there napping with mom right now. Oh, we got a lot of drop frames for some reason. I'm going to reset that, see if that still is the case. If so, I'm going to have to find out what in the world's going on with that. I had my friend stand outside to be my model. That's a great resource for getting more experience in photography in general, is recruit your friends and family to go out and be silly. I mean, assure them in most cases, specifically the ladies, that you're not going to go blasting this stuff all over your social media. I need to get out and do more shooting with the camera. I do too. I just don't unfortunately have the time typically. But yeah, it's always fun. I like to go shoot just to shoot as well. Just to get out there and be creative with it. It's a lot of fun. So we got our face shot there. Yeah, she's coming over to play a soccer game on Xbox, but I was like, I'm practicing Flash, so he didn't mind. Well, good, that's awesome. And he was the very first person I did a photo shoot ever. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. That is really awesome. I did it too. I'd get the wife involved. I get my dogs involved. If I want to try new concepts for lighting or studio setup or camera settings, I'll grab a dog or grab my kids. I say my kids, they're not here in the house, but if they're around, if they're visiting or whatever, I'll grab them or grab the wife and do some photographs. Back on New Year's Day. Awesome. I see your puppy shots. Really wants me to go out and do more photos. Well, good. I'm glad it inspires you to do that. Take it a step further. Go find a local rescue or shelter and take pictures. Take pictures for them. For the animals. Not specifically for them, maybe, but for the animals. Body shot. Yeah, that's what I'm having in mind. Great. I'm glad to hear it. Probably going to use that one. It's a very little touch soft there. And these are all a little bit bright, I know. Actually, I think what I'm going to do here, pull those, just pull the shadows up. And it's all personal taste, if you're the one doing the editing, you just do whatever you think works best. The biggest thing I can suggest, though, is be consistent. Don't over edit, because time is money. I mean, it may not be, you may not think that now, but one of the most valuable resources we have as human beings is time. Make sure you're spending it wisely, or as wise as you can. Don't over edit. Don't spend too much time on it, because you'll end up overworking it. Try to shoot, as far as photography is concerned, try to shoot more for the shot. If you're finding you have to do a lot of particular kind of editing to a photograph, think about what you can do before the picture is taken to help remedy some of that. You know, if it's you find yourself doing a lot of editing to hair, then maybe taking a few moments to advise the person or the model or whatever to do something with their hair to help remedy that in the end. Do that. If it's makeup, maybe, and it's a lady, maybe ask her if she can, you know, put a little more base on, which that's a touchy subject. You may not. You'll have to feel that out with your client, but you kind of get what I'm saying, is that try to think about the shot before you take the shot, to try to, you know, simplify some of your editing time when you come out the other end. Yeah, that's what I'm having in mind. Very nice. Put your talents to work for the animals. Yeah, you know, giving a voice to the voiceless. It's a very powerful thing. It makes you feel really good on top of that, and you're helping them. I mean, it's a win-win situation right there. I'll paste these settings on here. I think. I always get lost on these menus. As much as I use this program, then I still get lost in the menus a lot. Here's a great example of what I was talking about earlier on the 1-to-1. And just the composition pretty much has to go right out the damn window. And we'll go in and we'll take all this junk out here when we're done, but face shot, body shot, and we need some kind of cute shot. I really liked this one. See what I can do with that. Slide the exposure up just a hair. And the shadows up just a hair. White's back down. It's already had a little bit of contrast into it, and it's pretty good. Maybe a little bit brighter. I say maybe, that thing wouldn't move there for a minute, and then it went all at once. Yeah, I think that works. So there's our 3 pictures for Sigrid. And then we move on to Duke. And again, most of these dogs today were just really well behaved. There was one German Shepherd that was a little bit overexcited, which can happen. You know, they get pinned up in these little kennels with no outlet for their energy. And they can get pretty excitable when you bring them out. But let's see if we can get Duke's pictures here. Alright, so we need a headshot. That looks very soft. Yeah, I remember he had issues looking at the camera. I say issues. He didn't care to look at the camera. So, well, we actually got him looking at the camera there, by golly. Another one with his tongue hanging partly out. And these were all taken, you know, this one is 250. I think we went up as high, yeah, we went up as high as 400 for him. Because he did not want to sit still. Which it can be tough. Sometimes the dogs just don't. They're nervous, excited, whatever the case might be. That's really bright. And they don't want to sit still. He's got his tongue hanging out on that one as well. That one's a little bit soft. Probably go with that one. I've got a 55 to 250 on cropped. I guess that lens would be really good for this. A 55 to 250, that's a really long range. A really long focal range. I would be a little worried about the barrel distortion at the lower end and at the higher end. But if you're playing that sweet spot which I typically shoot between 70 and 110, typically, somewhere in there. But yeah, it might be. You just have to kind of try it and see. Maybe take a few at really wide 55, a few at really wide at 200, 250, and see what it does. Because sometimes the lens with that much focal range, you'll get soft corners and weird things. If you care, you know, and it may not be a problem. It may not be an issue for you. Me, I'm just a bit of a stickler for some of that stuff. So I try to set myself up as good as I can to get the best shot I can. And then the rest falls on me and whether or not I'm worth a crap taking a picture. So lack of XP to know, to look for it. Well, I mean, again, that's why you get out there and you do it, because it gives you that experience. Then once you get those pictures back, you can look at them. What did you not like about it? What was, why did it do what you didn't like? Was it the lens? Was it your lighting? Was it shutter speed, aperture? What was it? And just keep working it. I mean, I have taken, I don't know how long you've been taking photographs. As far as since I've been doing this professionally, I have taken thousands and thousands of photographs. And I still don't know crap. I still have a ton to learn, and I learn something new all the time and constantly refining it. So that's just what you have to do. Having a photo session, you're just tired of having a photo session once every 3 to 4 weeks. So do more. Go out, do street photography. I'll go out and do any kind of photography for that matter. Get a friend or family member's pet, take them out. Go to a park, a public park, make sure it's a public park, and take pictures of people there. Be careful not to be creepy, of course, about it. But in general, if the person is in a public space, they've already accepted that they may get their picture taken. It's just, I'm sorry, that's how it works. So if you're in a public space, if you don't want your picture taken, don't go to public spaces, because in public spaces, people can take your picture. I've been trying to do, that's why I've been doing experimenting with flash every day. Yeah. And you can do it indoors as well. Go to try product photography. That's another great thing to do with flash. Get different kinds of products. Maybe get a wine bottle, and then maybe get something that's more opaque. Maybe it's a darker bottle, or a can of fruit, or whatever. And play with your flash and lighting, and again, just experimentation. It's the best teacher. That's the best teacher. What was this dog's name again? Duke, that's right. Also been trying to figure out how to understand what a good flash shots are. All flashes are, let's see if I can explain this in a way to make sense. And again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. There's a ton of research out there. It's all over YouTube. Videos you can watch on lighting. All flash does for you is let you put light where you want it rather than where nature wants it. That's I know it's a very simple view of it, but that's the gist of it. So it allows you more flexibility for lighting. It allows you to do pictures in more different kinds of environments and different kinds of settings. You don't always need it, and sometimes it's a very small part of it. When I do my dog photos is a great example of being a very small part of it. I do use a flash, an on-camera flash, when I do these dog photos. Now I'm outside in Texas in direct sunlight and in almost high noon sunlight, which is the most unflattering, crappy, bright, small light source you could ever want to photograph in. This is, and honestly, this is one of the absolute worst lighting situations you can put yourself in. And I use an on-camera flash. And the main reason that I use the on-camera flash is to lighten up the shadows just enough so that when I'm compensating for the really bright light, the really bright sun, I can still get some texture in the darks. And I also get a light in their eye. That is the only reason I use an on-camera flash in this particular setting. So again, it's about putting light where nature isn't. and you want it or you need it. And that's not a hard and fast rule either. Again, it's your art. You might like colored gels. You might like something a little more abstract. It's completely up to you, but that's why I use it. I use an on-camera flash outdoors in high noon sun in Texas to get those couple of things. That's why I use it. You can do this without it. You can do totally not. I think, matter of fact, the next shot maybe. Yeah, this shot, the flash didn't even go off. Here. Again, with the recycle time on my flash, and because they're dogs and they move around a lot, and sometimes I just take a chance because I had an opportunity to take a shot. Maybe it recycled, maybe it didn't. In this case, it didn't. I had a really good profile shot. I didn't get a flash. Now, I can work around that, not having the flash, but this falls back to what I was saying before about try to set up your photograph to make the less post-production as possible. So that's why I use a flash. Now I can take this without the flash, and I can do post on it and lighten up the dark spots, add the catch light in their eyes and all that. But I'm adding editing time. So I want to try to get away from. So again, why I use it. I usually practice on my lawn gnome on a trash can. I was originally getting the nose shadow into the eyeball. Yeah, one thing you got to watch, and I don't know on your particular gnome, but I say this in the sense of the finish on it. If it's a very high gloss finish, that's a pretty tricky place to start. Now, if it's a matte finish, that's probably more helpful. But the glossy ones can be very tricky to try to set your light on in something of that fashion, in my opinion. Then I did a photo shoot with my friend last night, and the shadow of the nose was more natural. Yeah, and again, it really depends on the kind of art you like and the kind of the photographic style you like. I usually go for things that are very it's really hard to explain. I know Impoverished, you've seen some of my artwork, maybe some of the others in here haven't, or some of my photography work, but black and whites I really have an affinity for. And not even so much the black and white as a very velvety, soft palette, when the whole image just kind of flows, and it all conveys a mood, and more specifically, a mood that is less specific, meaning that the viewer can interpret that mood in many different ways, depending on their own personal experiences. So, and this is the cool thing I think about art in general. If photography, painting, it doesn't matter, drawing, when you can take and create something, okay, create a visual representation of what you have in your head, and you can put that out into the world, and then you can share that with someone, and then when they look at it, they not only see the world that you have depicted there, but they take their own experiences and further manipulate that image in their own head as to what it might mean or say, and make them feel or think or see something that might be completely different. To me, that is the coolest thing ever. That's just such an interesting process to me. Again, maybe it's one of the reasons I'm so intrigued with art in general. But there's lots of applications of photography specifically. It depends on what kind of photographer you want to be and what you want to do. I want the flash to allow me to have a feel like I have the tools I can handle at night, right after golden hour, because I'm a natural light photographer. Well, I'll say something that's a bit controversial, and I please don't take this wrong. I mean this with all due respect. There's no such thing as a natural light photographer. There's only photographers that don't yet understand flash. That doesn't mean you have to take pictures with flash, by any means. Any photographer worth their salt, including myself, would tell you I would much rather a picture be taken in beautiful natural light than anything, because it is the most beautiful thing ever. It's just absolutely stunning. You cannot beat it. But there's no such thing as a natural light photographer. There's just photographers that don't yet understand flash. So, again, don't put yourself in a category, because it's going to bias you on what you might think about doing the other. You may not enjoy flash, and you don't have to use flash. But, give it a shot and with an open mind. Try and play with it. It can be a little tough, a little frustrating. There's a ton of educational content out there on flash speeds. Take it all, with a grain of salt. Nobody knows everything. And, just learn off the back of giants. See what they do. Try it. Maybe tweak it a bit. Make it your thing. And there you go. There you go. For me, it's all about portraiture. I don't care about style. I'm just trying to understand technical. I can see that, I see that being a thing because I also get kind of wrapped up in the technical as well. But don't forget about it, the technical end of anything is the means to an end. Without the end, the means is pointless. So by understanding kind of what you're going for, and maybe you don't know yet, and that's fine, but understanding what you're trying to accomplish will give you a much better drive and a much better set of tools to learn technically to get there. Because if you don't have a goal, then you're just kind of throwing tools up in the air. And it's not, to me, that's not going to be as effective in getting you where you want to go, even though you may not know where that is yet, if that makes any sense. I want to know all of it. I enjoy going out in the golden hour with just the camera, body lens, and model in my direction, but I want to be able to not have a looking shitty photo because blur hour hit. I've taken very few photos at golden hour or blue hour, either one. Not that I don't think they're beautiful, but it's just not realistic for most people to get out in that specific time of day and do that specific thing and then be done with it. I started out, I did a lot of nature photography. I would do things that are naturally beautiful, which is kind of a cop-out to me in the creative part. Flowers, skies, trees, landscapes, water, shorelines, things that are already naturally beautiful. And I did a lot of that to help learn my process. I'm just trying to understand what's more acceptable flash shot look. There's no such thing. You're asking for something that does not exist. That completely depends on you. And I think I've actually mentioned this to you before. I highly, highly, highly advise you go out and find a mentor. And it doesn't have to be a mentor that specifically maybe even knows you know them. It doesn't have to be like that. Find somebody's work who you like. And that doesn't mean that's going to be your style. Find someone whose work you like and work to mimic it the best you can, at least to some degree. Because that will teach you a whole crap ton about that particular style, about that technique and those tools, which will give you even more tools to do other things if you decide that's not what you like. I always talk to working professionals. I have a handful of mentors. Well, that's great. That's great. But it doesn't seem like you've kind of picked, it doesn't seem like you have picked a destination for yourself yet. And of course, in art, that does not mean it's your only destination. It's just like a stepping stone. And you may decide along the way that you change your mind, and that's fine too. But you need that destination. Whoever those mentors of your art, or those working professionals, see whose art you like, and then inquire specifically how they do that. And then do that. Or try to do that to the best of your knowledge. It'll teach you a lot. It'll teach you a whole ton about that style. And then you can take some of those tools, or maybe all those tools, and transfer them to something else. And somewhere along that road, you're going to find your style and the thing you like the most and what makes your art your art. Anybody can pick up a camera. Anybody can take a picture. Doesn't mean they're that great, but anybody can do it. People are not going to hire you because you can take a picture. If they do, it's going to be a very unsatisfying artistic adventure for you, I can assure you. And they don't typically pay a bunch either. They want the whole Sears and Roebuck experience. No pun intended there. I mean, it's a great company, I'm sure, but you know what I'm saying. That's a turnstile photography. But if that's what you want to do, more power to you. It's just not the way I perceive photography in the field of art. Photography in the field of art, clients are going to come to you, especially those that want to pay you something to do what you're doing, are coming to you because of your style, your art, what you do with the photographs. Not because you can do the same thing that 50 other people can do. Because then they're just going to the cheapest person that can do it. So, make sure you keep that in mind as you're going. Destination is constant shoots in focus, having the toolkit decide what I want to do and do using natural light. I like capturing pure emotion with the client and having them enjoy the experience. Well, now that's odd. I see in OBS that ODG has rated me and I have no other message anywhere. So I don't know if you're here, ODG, let me know. That was you. It was you. So what the heck? I just happened to glance out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, that in OBS it said you rated with a party of one, and none of my other alert software said a thing about it. That was very weird. Well, I appreciate you rating, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun in your stream yesterday. I can, what we should do though, Impoverish, is once I'm done with the puppy stream, we can talk about that, because this stream's mostly, it's about photography, yes, but it's mostly about the puppies, and we got to get through those to get those out to these guys. So we'll go through, let's get through our puppy stuff first, and I'm happy to answer stuff along the way, but let's get those done, and then I'm happy to go and maybe even offline with you and discuss them if you'd like. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. While I am a working professional, I'm very open to the fact that I don't know everything. There's a lot of people out there who know a hell of a lot more than me. Just need some help on some things you notice my eyes and say, okay, yeah, I'm happy to do so. Yeah, puppies, we got photographs of 10 of them today, and we're just starting to work through them. We've been streaming now for almost an hour, and we've gotten through one. We've been talking a bit, talking shop a bit, which is cool. That's fine. But we definitely love to see the puppies too. That's what it's about. It's about seeing the puppies and talking about them. And if you guys got stories about your shelter animals, or you adopted, or maybe your family member did, or something of that nature, or you went and visited your shelter, please share your stories. We love to hear about them. I'd like to hear the things that you've experienced and what it means to you, maybe, or unfortunately, maybe you had an experience where you had to take a dog to a shelter or an animal to a shelter. Yeah, I get it, Impoverished. I understand. Believe me, I totally get it. All right, so let's finish with Duke here. He's super cute. He's a little young, I think. He is... Oh, he's not. He's 3 years. Wow, I could have swore he was only maybe a year old at the most. I've been finding it quite a bit lately with the dogs. When I photograph them, I'm like, well, that's a pretty young dog. And then I find out after I look at their kennel card, they're not nearly as young as I thought. You're nor there. Wow, that is really bright. I'll pull that background down a little bit, and then we'll slide those shadows up. Because I like the separation. I shoot typically at around a 5.6 aperture for the dogs. It gives me enough focal range, to keep a lot of their motion in focus when they're moving their head forward and backwards or side to side, but it's still shallow enough that if they're turned like they are here, you see how his tail end's already starting to blur out, and the background is pretty much knocked out. So that's why I shoot around 5.6 for the dogs. If you go anything lower than that, you get too many missed shots. What focal range usually like for using the dog shot? Yeah, 5.6. That's typically what I'll shoot at. If I get dogs that are just really high strung, I may, open that up a bit to, just whatever the situation might call for. How far usually on range? I shoot with the 70 to 200, and I am usually probably somewhere around 10 to 15 feet away from the dog. Somewhere in there. Typically. And that can vary a little bit time to time too. Yeah, I like 5.6 because it seems to be a sweet spot for the dogs. For a lot of portrait photography too, and it depends on what distance you're shooting at with that. Because obviously, you know, your focal range also increases with distance. So, you know, there's a lot of things come into play, but just play around with it until you find something you like. That's just what I like shooting at. Okay, so I'm gonna crop this down. Yep, because this is our headshot. And if you happen to live around, or are not afraid of commuting to, around the city of Austin, Texas, and any of these animals appeal to you, let me know. I will definitely get you the information on how to inquire about that particular animal. Adopted 2 cats from a shelter. My dog and another 2 cats were taken in from friends' relatives who didn't want them anymore. Well, awesome. That's awesome. I've not adopted any cats. Well, my wife's allergic to cats, which is the first big reason. I don't have anything against cats. Lots of friends that have cats. We just always really been dog people. Man, I didn't get a flash on either one of those body shots, so might be able to salvage that one. But yeah, it's such an awesome thing. You know, excuse me, even the shelters can even from time to time get purebreds. You know, if you're like, well, I only want purebreds, well, they can get them. You have to kind of let them know though, because I think in general, and at least I know for our shelter, purebreds don't hang around long. They go pretty darn quick. So you want to make sure that you let them know you're looking for a specific breed. But yeah, I mean, you're saving their life because in the end, there's a very high chance they may be euthanized. Nothing wrong with the dog or cat. Just nobody wants them. My animals are all mutts. Yeah, so are mine, except for Jackson. But Jackson also came from a shelter. And I am losing the crap out of frames. Why am I losing so many frames? Holy cow. Said I was going to look at that earlier. Make sure I don't have something crazy on here. I don't see anything. I'm going to exit Steam just in case that is what's doing it. Man, losing a lot. I've never lost that many frames. That's nuts. Try that. So far, I've lost 1 frame. I don't know what the hell that's about. I kept getting... Yeah, you were mentioning something about that. It was just like I'll have to watch. It may be when I'm switching images in Lightroom, possibly. It's smacking the crap out of the memory. I don't know. It's very weird. Because I did have to change some stuff with the rendering of Lightroom Photoshop, and that may be part of the problem. So, I just need to pay more attention to it. And I lost a few just when I zoomed in there, so yeah, it may be a resource problem at this point. Okay. Headshot. Body yeah, when I just switched those, I lost 14 frames. Now I'm losing more. Now I'm still losing some. Now I stopped losing them. That's very weird. Now it's got me worried. I'm going to my preferences here, and I know you guys can't see this panel again because of the way it renders. Oh, well, that's probably part of it. I'm going to try this. We're going to see if the preview goes away when I do that or not. It does, because you're stuck with the same image that was there when I turned it on. So I switched my GPU rendering on for Lightroom, and that basically removes the ability for you guys to see the... What a pain in the butt. Okay, settings, edit, preferences. I'm gonna turn it back off, and we're just gonna have to deal with the frame law. If it becomes choppy for you guys, like, hey, this is almost unwatchable, or something silly, let me know, and I'll switch to desktop capture mode. I hate that mode because it's very screwy, but we will do that because I'm losing frames all over the place again. So you let me know if it becomes too hectic, and we'll switch it. Could be Twitch as well. Sometimes it glitches. I tend to think it's something local on resources, and I think it's that GPU rendering is probably a big port. I mean, I'm running 4 gigahertz processor. You wouldn't think that would be a problem. Hell, I don't know. I don't know. Close that. I could get rid of a couple things here. I also have Photoshop open. I also have 4 Google panels open. I mean, it's probably a lot of it's my fault. So that it's hogging all this stuff. I've been binging on some Neil deGrasse Tyson videos last night and today. I don't know. I get on those kicks sometimes where I want to watch his stuff. I'm just closing down some windows here, trying to free up whatever the hell might be going on here. Anyway, let's make sure we got a video back now where you guys, yeah, okay, you guys can see the switches now. All right, back to what we were doing. Apologize for the off-topic rant there. So face shot, body shot. Now here's an example, in my opinion, of some really nice all-natural light. The flash did not go off here. I can tell just by how dark the side of his head is. But it's got a really good separation, background, foreground. This is at 5.6. A little bit of blur towards the back end. Super sharp here on the eyes. Got some gook in his teeth though. Beautiful picture. Check performance monitor. Make sure Windows isn't doing something in the background. I've had to remove several Windows schedulers due to taking over 20% CPU indexing disks and stuff like that. Stream looks okay to me though. Well, we'll leave it be for now. Like I said, it seems to have tamed itself a little bit. Kind of see how it goes. And yeah, it's very beautiful. But one of the unfortunate things that we're going to have to do to use this beautiful photograph, which this one's also pretty nice, I don't like it as much, but is we have to crop it down to 1 by 1. And doing so, where the hell, there it is. Settings, paste settings. We're going to try it again because it didn't think, maybe it didn't think I meant it. We lose a lot of the composition, which just irritates the shit out of me. Like I'm losing all the tail end of him. And if I put him over here, it's even worse. So I've got to compromise. Wow, that totally wrecked that picture. Let's do it our own way here. Pull those shadows up a little bit. I didn't want to set that to rating to 4. I'm using an MMO mouse, so it has numbers on the thumb, and sometimes I accidentally click them. Let's see, pull those shadows up a little bit. Whites are okay. Blacks, maybe we can pull up just a hair. Just to get those super darks out, and then I can bump up the contrast a little bit to put that separation. Love it. Love it. And did we? Looks like maybe the flash did go off right there. Maybe he was just really far. What are we at here? Wow, 150 millimeter. Yeah, we were a fair distance from him, but not too terribly. Very curious. But anyway, it's a nice shot. I really like the lighting on it. Alright, so there's R3 of Duke. Now we have Xena. And he, she... 1-year-old female. She was out in the play yard when we got her, so she was already pretty worn out. She came in on the 13th, so she hadn't been there much more than 10 days. And you'll see how damn skinny she is. And she just recently had puppies. Is she a stray? She came in as a stray. And that's the unfortunate condition of a lot of these dogs. They come in such bad shape. And I actually don't think, well, maybe we did. A little bit. So I think she was a bit shy. Oh, here we go. There's a cute face shot. Wasn't for sure if we got a face shot, because there was a couple dogs. In general, the dogs, once they see that bright flash a time or two, get a little leery of it. I do have constant lights, which is the same thing I use to light here, but it's just not feasible to take there and try to do it. I probably could in the studio. I honestly bought these constant lights, LEDs, for the sake of taking photographs of animals that were prone to being scared of flashes. I was more thinking of exotics and or maybe cats, not so much dogs, but I haven't done very many exotics, and the cats haven't seemed to have a big issue with flash either. So in the studio I use flashes as well, but they're all big flashes. So really the only thing I've used these constant LEDs for is the video you're seeing now. Paste settings here, and we're going to crop that down. Very cute, super sweet dog. Man, what is up with the auto today? It's just wrecking things. Speaking of all that, I really need to recalibrate my monitor as well. It's been a couple months since I've done that, which is also super important if you're doing really any kind of art with color, in my opinion. Even sometimes with just grayscales, because the intensity of your shading can change quite a bit. Is get some type. First of all, have a monitor that can be adjusted color-wise, and get some type of device to adjust those colors, or to adjust them for you. I use I don't know if I got enough string here to. I use a Color Monkey, and it sits here. It monitors ambient light, and it also will monitor. It will basically hang in front of my monitor, and it will go through color patterns, and it will measure the monitor's colors, and then put a profile together to adjust all the colors so that they're all real, true colors. So yeah, I highly recommend that as well if you're doing photography or artwork that has a lot of color in it. I'm okay with that. Yep. Face shot. Body shot. Kind of dark on the face, but those aren't very flattering. Not one of the best ones I got, but we're gonna have a lot of editing to do because they got shadow across their back and everything else. But sometimes that's just what you gotta do. Say what you gotta do. It's what I feel I have to do. You don't have to do any of it, honestly. Totally up to you. Again, composition's pretty much out the window for a lot of these, so I apologize for that if you're really crazy on composition. That's a really cute photo. Doesn't look like we got the flash on it though. I love how one ear is up and the other one lays down. Yeah, it's very cute. Quite adorable. I really like that shot. We didn't get a flash on it, which isn't necessarily a big deal, but it's not very consistent with the others. Like that's the flash. That's a good, flash went off there. It's a pretty good exposure, but it's not a very good photograph. Seems that the zooming in and out is really what takes a toll on it. I mean, these are all raw photos. They're around 53 or 55 megs for each picture. So that's a lot. I say it's a lot. It's not a lot for this machine. I don't know why it's acting silly. This machine's a monster. Hmm. Well, unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything else I really care for other than this one. While it's not that much different than our headshot, it just adds more body into it. Let me paste on, slide that around. Man, I don't know what the heck is up with auto today, but it's not very flattering. Looks like he heard a rabbit, right? Yeah, and they'll typically, I say typically, if you've not had the opportunity to photograph animals, specifically animals that have been enclosed all day, I highly recommend you experience it once or twice. Just to feel the frustration. Sometimes it can go beautifully, and you can, the gal that helped me today, again, for instance, she was another volunteer. She's never done this before. Never helped with the photographing. So I, gave her a quick rundown before we started on kind of my process and how I do it, and try to keep it simple and straightforward. But I told her, because when we get out there, and I'd be like, a couple things you want to watch for is you want to watch your own shadow to make sure you're not shadowing over the dog if you can, and you want to try to keep the leash high off of their body if possible. It just makes it easier later. And we got out there, and she's such a sweetheart. She was just dancing all over the place trying to get the right setup to get the picture of the dog. And I said, "Don't kill yourself." I said, "Thank you for trying, but don't worry about it. Just stand there for a minute, give the dog a little bit of leash, let them get their sniffing done and everything, and they'll chill. They'll typically chill if they're really rambunctious." So it's definitely a process. It's something that you got to play with and learn. But it can be very challenging. Some dogs, you'll take a picture in the first 3 minutes, you'll get all your pictures done. Some dogs I've sat with 20 minutes waiting for them to calm down enough and stop pacing enough to get some pictures. Some dogs just don't. It just really depends on the dog and whether or not they're the nervous kind or excitable kind, or a lot of pent up energy. Really just depends. Okay, there's our 3. I don't know why I just don't flat out delete some of these I'll never use. And I need to adjust. I know my mic's kind of cutting out. I'm trying to get in a better habit of keeping my voice even. I'm terrible about my voice going high, low, and I apologize for that. It's work in progress. Actually, it's a beautiful focus on it. I just like clearing up anything that is going to be completely useless to me later, because like I was saying, each one of these things is 55 megs. And if you take thousands of photographs, you can see how that can add up. So I do try to remove anything I don't think is going to be of use at some point. I also use a lot of these in, like, I'll do a marketing campaign for the shelter, and I'll go back through some of these pictures and pull out some of them, even if it's one I haven't edited yet, if it's composed in particular fashion. And use it for the campaign. So I do hang on to it all. And while I am getting kind of full on the hard drive now, every 3 to 6 months I archive off the later than 2 month stuff and archive it all off to external drives. So I still have all my photography. It's just not all on one drive. I never did do their kennel card. But yeah, it's, if you like animals, which a lot of people do, I think there are a lot more people that do than don't, and you have an hour a week to spend, even if you can't make it to a shelter or rescue, hop on social media of any kind, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the above, whatever you do, and help them spread the word. tag them, share them, whatever that might be. Makes a big difference. Okay. 3 down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did do 10 today. I thought we did. A long way to go here, which is alright. We didn't get to do this last week, so we're kind of making up for some lost time as well. This is Rory. Super sweet. 2-year-old border collie mix. I don't think I believe that so much. Not that I don't believe it, but well, that's different. Now this is a great example of what I'm talking about on a picture that's more representative of the animal. If you look at this picture, man, that's dropping some frames when I do that. But if you look at this picture, to me, I would say she's more pit bull than anything. Very short, boxy nose. That is not at all what her nose looks like, as you can see from this picture. So, again, it's another reason why doing this makes a big difference. Like that. You can totally see the border collie now. Here, I could not. Other than the color in the coat. Here, I see a lot more border collie. Face shot. It's not too terrible. Wow, it choked to death when I switched to that one. Anyway. We didn't have a lot here. She was a little bit on the shy side. I think we're gonna have to use that one. And we can use this one. It's a touch soft, but for the resolution that it's gonna work out in the end, it's not that big of a deal. Doesn't have to be super sharp. You'd never know. Not when it goes out low res. An auto that is probably going to destroy it. I didn't do too bad. Seems a little bit on the bright side. Probably sharpen that up a little bit in post. Headshot. And I need a body shot. That's pretty good. I'm watching those frames, because I know it can be a bit crazy. We got to cut the dog's tail off. 1-to-1. There. Headshot, body shot. That's kind of a body shot as well. Don't really have much else to use. Yeah, we'll do a heavy crop on this, but I don't think it's very sharp. Little too soft. try that. Oh, holy cow, that looks like shit. Pardon my French, but damn. Which, you know, when you're using auto in Lightroom, again, I use it in a lot of cases because it's typically a decent starting point. But I always end up having to tweak it most of the time. Sometimes it'll get really nice and hit it right on, but Red Eye says, hi, by the way, it's chatting with him. Just go, well, yeah, tell him to come over here and say hi. What the hell? Is he all stuck up? Is he all stuck up now? That's alright. I'm sure he's busy. I'm actually running to AFK for a second. I need to refill my drink, and wife's up now, and pull a puppy in and get the puppy stream going. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be number 5. So on that note, we're going to step away for just a minute. I'm going to refill my drink, say hello to the wife, see about getting hold of Bobby. I really appreciate you guys being here. Again, if you have any questions or anything, holler. If I can answer them, I will, or I'll try. And, you know, we'll just keep working through these and get through these beautiful puppies. And then we'll get over to Photoshop and edit them up and get everything ready for export. So stand by. I'll be right back. And back. The puppies are eating. So I'm going to be a few more minutes before we get one of those in here. Lemon Sparkle, thank you for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome to the community. So we have... Man, the dropped frames are just killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. We have 6 more puppies to do. I'm gonna try to move through them a little bit quicker, maybe. Red Eye says, tell him I'm in the loo. Nice. Negotiating a PC purchase tonight. He's negotiating a PC purchase? Oh, negotiating with the significant other about his own PC purchase? Because he's on a laptop, I think, if memory serves. You put that picture in my head so that's traumatized you with it. I appreciate that. Thanks. We were talking and getting him a new PC. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'm still convinced that building them is the better option. I mean, you can get some packages like motherboard processor combos and things like that and save a few bucks, but I think overall building them is always your best bet. More bang for your buck, and it can be more catered to what you do with it and not be loaded up with bloatware from whatever manufacturer. This dog was so beautiful. I don't know, what was he? Australian Shepherd and Great Pyrenees mix. How cool of a mixed breed. Look at that coat. It was just really cool. It was like a medium hair. It wasn't long hair. It wasn't short hair. Because Pyrenees have a really long hair. But the Australian Shepherd dogs have pretty short hair. So that mix gave him medium hair. He's got the colors of a Shepherd dog, but most of the features of a Pyrenees. A great big Pyrenees tail. It was super cute. He was really nice too. Really sweet. But very, very unique colors. Looks like that's the only body shot we got, so we'll have to save it for that. There's a really good face shot. Eyes closed on that one. Pyrenees tail, yep. I don't, I'm not an expert on anything, but I have very limited experience with Great Pyrenees. I've worked with many of them at the shelter, but my experience with Great Pyrenees, I have yet to meet a Great Pyrenees that's not an absolutely incredible dog. Well behaved, chill, affectionate, responsive, attentive. And maybe it's just been, luck of the draw, but everyone I've met has been like that. And I assume it's a trait of the breed. I don't have any. As many of you may already know, I am a large dog fan. Jackson, for instance. Which, by the way, speaking of that, I wanted to look because I told everybody something the other day. And I want to make sure that that's a thing. Let me go to my channel. Pause that. Yeah, so if you go up to the subscription button on top and just click the drop down, okay, and I think it shows you, even if you're not subscribed, your subscription status. Do you guys see the Jackson icon there? I don't have it yet because I haven't been affiliate yet for 3 months to unlock it. But I'm curious if you guys can see that as well, because that's what's, if you subscribe, your 3-month subscription, you get a Jackson emote. And I think it is so damn cute. I know I'm a little biased, but I am curious if you guys are also able, if you're subscribed, I'm sure you are able to see it, but if you're not, I'm curious if you're able to see the 3-month subscription Jackson icon. Very curious. Pause that. But yeah, it was a very curious thing, trying to figure out how I was going to do that, how to make that work. You don't have the cool new, were you able to see it? And welcome out of the loo, I guess. What ODG said, you were in the loo contemplating a PC purchase. I'm not seeing it, but my laptop is old. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you're like Red Eye, you can probably see it. If you click the subscription drop down, it should show you I think now it only shows you 2. It shows you the subscription icon, and then it'll have the bars 3 months, and then it'll show you the Jackson one. I can't wait to get that unlocked for myself. And for 6 month, we'll probably do Gracie. And then for, what's the next one? 9 months? We'll probably do Cage. And that'll be the 3 month stuff. The 3, the 6, the 9. I think it's 9. Or does it go 3, 6, 12? I don't know, one of the 3. Did everything come out all right? I hope so. But if it didn't, I don't know if I want to know that either. A little bit soft, but We'll just sharpen that up a touch in post. He was apparently moving at a pretty good speed. But you know, I'm shooting at 3/20 of a second here, so I'm taking for granted that I can catch a little bit of movement on that. May not be all of it, but a little bit of it. Headshot. We only got one body shot, so we have to make this one work. Like it pasted half the settings. Paste settings. There we go. Auto that out. At the mercy of a 1x1 crop. It's pretty sharp though. Now because he is broadside to me, pretty much all of him is in focus even at 5.6. And we're a fairly good shot from him as well at 95 millimeters. So the back's a little bit knocked out. Not as much as I'd typically like it. But again, like I said, you're at the mercy of the animal and where they decide to go and pose. So just kind of take what you can get. I do like that. That's super cute too. No flash though. Eyes closed. I can go with this one. Yeah, he's adorable. I love the colors, and he was very unique. Very unique. Australian Shepherd and Great Pyrenees mix. And, you know, again, like I was saying a minute ago, I have yet to meet a Great Pyrenees I didn't like. And I don't know, maybe it's a trend with the large dogs that I'm a Great Pyrenees, Great Dane, Mastiff, a lot of the larger breeds, especially here around Central Texas, seem to be some of the most well-behaved breeds. I think I got special dispensation to go get the PC. Oh, really? How did you pull that off? There's our 3 of him. Duncan. What a doll. I'm assuming that took more than a bunch of flowers. Yeah, the whole, I don't know. I've always, I guess you could say I've been a student of psychology. Both, you know, individual and social psychology, cultural psychology. It just all fascinates me. Now, in my particular relationship, we've been married now for 17 years. And while we have had our differences, we've never been in a yelling match. Never anything like that. Sort of my status as a husband, and I beg like a 4-year-old. Very nice. Very nice. Hey, whatever works. If you see a bit off topic, well, in relation to what you're talking about, I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole last night. And because I am in marketing and advertising and things of that nature, I always find sometimes some commercials very intriguing, or like somebody say, you know, the top 10 funniest videos of 2018 or commercials of 2018 or something like that. I watched one, and I don't remember what branch, I don't know if it was a Burger King or who it was, but it was a guy. He was sitting on a back porch, or like a back patio, okay, and his girlfriend or wife was in the house. And in his hand, he had a burger, and it was their jalapeno spicy something burger. And she was, you know, you don't want to do this, and you don't want to go see my parents, and you want to sit here, and you want to, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she goes and walks out to the door and looks at him. And because he's eating this really spicy jalapeno stuff, he's starting to tear. And so she walks around. She goes, "Oh, but you're crying. It's not that big of a deal. We can stay here so we can watch the football game." And she walks back in the house. And the whole thing was, you know, it's crying isn't necessarily a bad thing. for guys. It was actually pretty clever. I liked it. But yeah, definitely an interesting way to look at it. If that doesn't work, just throw a tantrum with a full-on floor falling around. Right? Queen Zoe. I don't know how you'd like that pronounced, but welcome. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that. But yeah, with my wife and I, we pretty much have the understanding she does what she wants and I do what I want. But we have that understanding because we're both very responsible and respectful of each other on the same token. I'm good. How are you? We're doing fantastic. Finishing editing up some of our puppy pictures from today from our local shelter. Used in some of the local social media marketing and advertising and things like that. And we like to share the experience, talk a little bit about the dogs, and as well as just shoot the crap with you wonderful people. Like hearing your guys' stories, even if it's not necessarily dog related. But we have now Sheba, a bit smaller, very beautiful eyes. Beautiful eyes. I really like catching the eyes, dude. Wow, you took those photos. Yeah, my wife and I volunteer at a local county animal shelter where once a week, every Sunday, except, well, today we didn't because my wife we think she broke her toe. But it's a little toe, there's nothing they can do with it anyway. But she just didn't feel like going up and having a chance of dogs stepping on it, keeping it injured. So another volunteer helped me. But yeah, we went up there today, take an hour or two, I take photographs of generally around 10 animals, come back, I edit them on stream, and then we talk about them a little bit, advocating for the animals and things like that. When we're done here, I package all these up and I send them back to I upload them on the shelter's website for the sake of getting them good homes. And I send them out to several different volunteers, some that just share it on social media, some that do Instagram, yada yada, to help get them all good homes. I do dogs for this shelter, but I have done some cats and other horses and things like that in the past as well. But yep, every Sunday we do this. I say every Sunday. Last Sunday we missed because I was under the weather. I didn't feel well. I didn't know exactly what it was. It was a stomach bug. I didn't want to pass it on to the dogs. So I stayed at home last week. Your wife broke her toe. Hope she was bad. Yeah, well, she thinks she did. Wow, that's really soft. She ironically, I laugh. It's not really funny, but she stubbed it on one of my light stands that's in the spare bedroom on the floor. There's a lot of them in there on the floor because I released my studio downtown and I'm sort of in the middle of moving it back to the house. And so I have a good portion of the spare bedroom has a ton of my photography equipment in it. She was in there doing something and kicked one of my light stands that's on the ground. And she thinks she broke it. It's pretty swollen. But again, there's not a lot you can do with it. You go to the doctor, all they're going to do is tape it to the other toe. So she just try and take it easy with it until it starts feeling better. Yeah, I'm sure she'll get better with it soon. Well, I don't know if she has to necessarily wear any closed-toed shoes this week. So I do photography, but I'm also so bad, and I use my phone. Well, nobody's bad. No matter of being bad. The wonderful thing about art, and I know I'm on a soapbox here for a minute, so bear with me. The wonderful thing about art, and I believe it was an art teacher. No, it was an English teacher. It was an English teacher that told me this, and it really stuck with me in doing things in life. One of the really cool things about art, or any creative process, writing, painting, whatever, is there is only one person on this planet qualified to do your art, and that is you. Because you are uniquely placed to see things in your own way, shaped by your own personal experiences. That's something that is intrinsically unique to you as an individual that nobody else has. No one on the planet has that perspective. Nobody. You use that and create your art. And that's how you get some of the amazing art that we have today. So, it's not anybody, it's not necessarily bad. You may hold yourself to an expectation. And it's always good to have goals, but everybody starts somewhere. If it's something you enjoy, you keep at it. It's your art, it's your thing. Whether it's a phone, doesn't matter. There's some great phone photos out there. There's several. You can go to YouTube, or just Google in general. There's several photographers out there that have done challenges where they had to do entire photo shoots on a phone, and they had one photographer with a phone and one photographer with a professional level camera, and they did photo shoots, and they made you decide which was which. And in a lot of those cases, it is, unless you're very technically privy on it, even then sometimes it's really hard to tell the difference. So it's a great philosophy. I'm terrible at all art forms, but I find it fun, and I guess that's all that matters. Yeah, I mean, again, terrible. What do you mean terrible? The only person that has put the limitation of terrible or I'm bad on you is yourself. So you're your own inhibitor in that sense. It doesn't matter what other people think of your art. It does matter what you think of your art. And it matters what you think of yourself for doing it. Now, some people, I'm an introvert, believe it or not. I don't really get my feelings hurt by other people, criticizing my work. But I'm very accustomed to being critiqued on my work, just from college and general work and what I do for a living. But you have to, you don't learn things by doing everything right. That doesn't teach you anything. It does get you into a rut on how to do the same thing every time, and it doesn't give you flexibility. The best way to learn stuff is by falling on your face and picking yourself up and trying it again, and falling on your face and picking yourself up and trying it again. And that applies with everything in life. Now, I'm not perfect, believe me, and I've got my own issues, believe me. But that's some of the philosophies that I try to remind myself of when I'm having a difficult time with my art or with my life or with social or whatever it is to try to spin everything in a constructive fashion. Because if you just start doing that, and this is a bit of social psychology and a bit of cultural psychology at that. If you tell yourself something enough, you will believe it as a personal truth, whether it is true or not, even if it's not an objective truth. It will become your personal truth because you have convinced yourself of it. And that puts you in a terrible spot. It puts you in a box. It puts you in a bubble creatively, personally, socially. It's so helpful to be able to step back away from yourself sometimes and look at things as objectively as you can. We're all human. There is nothing completely objective about us. But to try to consider those biases and things as you analyze something that maybe you have done, or your response to something that someone has done. I think that's my problem. I'm in a rut. Well, and everybody's different. Different things get different people out of ruts. For me, it depends on what I'm having a rut with. If it's kind of a creative block, or if I'm getting, a lot of creative people are very prone to being depressed. I have a little bit of OCD, which I think many of us do anymore. I used to suffer quite a bit from depression. Not severe depression, but enough to make you feel bad about it. And a couple weeks ago, I had a few days where I was pretty down on myself, just a depression thing. And it was the first time in years that it happened since I moved away from the Midwest and the terrible weather and all that. I hadn't experienced that until a couple weeks ago. But I think that had a lot to do with just my life in general, a lot of things I had going on and some of that stuff. But then, thankfully it just lasted a couple days, and I kind of bounced out of it, which was fantastic. I do transport photography, train, tram, buses. Is that weird? Absolutely not. Also, if you guys like, I can tell you social media, and you can look me up. Yeah, you can let me actually here, put it over here. If you can go on my Discord, and you can paste it over there in general chat or whatever. And then anybody else also, you're welcome to do so as well. You can go over there and put all that stuff over there. It's just, that way it's preserved. So if anybody wants to look it up later, if you put it here, it just vanishes after the video stops. So I'd have to go over there and put it over there. But yeah, absolutely. But no, there's nothing, you know, my wife, she's not a creative person. I say a creative person. She's a very creative person, but she doesn't do the art thing. She's one of those people that thinks it's silly. Very tough thing for me to swallow, I know, and I've been married to her for 17 years. It's going to time me out for the links. But if you click that link that I just posted for Discord, my bot did, you can paste it over there in Discord, and that way it'll stick there and everybody can go see it. She just doesn't really think about it like the same way that we do. Stuart Kirby, the news photog. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Glad to have you. But she doesn't think about the fact that the clothing she wears is because of art. That the pictures on her wall are because of art. That the sheets on and the comforters on the bed, art. You know, why they're different styles of art, and they've shaped everything. So, you know, I don't know. Everybody probably has one of those people in their lives that are like that. Doing good, great, fantastic. Yeah, we're doing great here. Today is Sunday, is our puppy day. We go through and edit all the puppy photographs that we took today from our local shelter to help get them homes. And right now, I'm really gonna find a face shot. Put it on Discord because I'm using Twitch. Okay, I got you. Well, here. Let me do this then. Like I said, the reason I suggested that is because then it's there for everybody and it doesn't just vanish. Let me find it. Find you here. Wow, that was weird. Click here. There you go. There's a permit. You got 30 seconds. Oh, I could just type the damn command for it. To post the link for your social media, your photography work. But yeah, there's nothing weird about transportation. Some people are very fascinated. With transportation. Have I installing the software? What did he miss? Gonna see about that new PC. Is he gonna put it together himself, ODG, or is he buying one of those prepackaged? Do you know? No, it only lets you do it once, in that 30 seconds. Yeah, and that link did not work. Oh, you're still here. Okay, you're buying one. I'm not that. You don't have to be good. You got ODG that can help you out. I'm happy to help you out. We can probably save you a pretty good shit ton of money, and it can probably build you a much better machine. Just saying. You might think about that before you jump off the deep end. I know it's hard to resist probably now that you've got a blessing for it. you don't want that to go away. Yeah, we can do it one more time for you here, Queen. Give me 1 second. That's what YouTube videos are for? No, absolutely not. Don't do that from a YouTube video. Not unless you do it from a lot of YouTube videos. kind of take the collective on that. PC Parts Builder is a fantastic resource for building things. Because it'll even tell you incompatibilities. It'll tell you if the power supply you chose is not enough to power the equipment that you put on it. So many things that it's a really cool tool. Google and YouTube, you don't even need a doctor. You don't need a bottom. Right? I think I mentioned this before on one of my streams that in my local doctor's office, he's got a plaque up there that says something to the effect of, "Don't mistake Google for my PhD." Something along those lines. And it's so true. It's so true. You're not wasting our time. That's what we do, these streams. If you just wanted to watch photo editing, YouTube is full of those. You come here to interact with people, and we're here to interact with, and vice versa. So glad you're hanging out, chatting with us. PC Parts Builder rocks, especially if you post build and comments form. Yeah, it's really good. It's really nice. Yeah, I would. I mean, don't get me wrong, Red Eye. Of course, it's yours to do what you will. But if you would like to explore that avenue, let me know. Later on this evening, we can play around a little bit. I'm gonna probably jump back before I do something stupid. Yeah, nothing worse than buying something and regretting it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, that's cool. Lots of trains and buses. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially the train thing. There are a lot of people that do trains. Especially the old steam engines and whatnot. Yeah, it's really cool stuff. Really cool. But again, like I was saying, it's your art is your art. You are the only person on the planet uniquely qualified to do your art, because your experiences in life are unique to you, and you're the only one that can do art in that way. Again, whether it's photographs, painting, drawing, photography, whatever it is. Use your life experiences to help mold your work, because you have such an intimate understanding of it. It's much easier for you to convey those things in your work than it is for someone that hasn't. And that's what makes your art uniquely yours as well. Again, if you hold and drag the sliders at the join where it meets the image, you can expand the sliders for more accuracy. Yeah, it's DPI on this mouse. It sometimes likes to turn itself up. Again, it's not. We're not going too crazy with the puppy stuff here. But thank you for that tip. Appreciate that. But yeah, it makes you uniquely positioned to create an art of your own style. And don't be super critical of yourself. Everybody starts somewhere, and it takes time to hone a craft. That's true with anything. There's just no instant gratifications. Maybe if you're a savant or something of that nature, awesome, congratulations. But for the majority of us, that's not the case. We have to work hard to get what we want to be good at. So just take it easy on yourself, and just keep trying and keep trying. Practice makes perfect. Just keep working, and you'll stumble upon it. Whenever I started doing professional photography, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to go about it. I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to do. I just had an idea. Sort of, again, like I was telling Impoverish, if you're still here, I was telling you earlier, have a goal, something to work towards. And it doesn't mean that you'll end up there, but at least it gives you somewhere to start. And after I did it for a bit, and I started doing commercial and models, and I started experimenting with noir, specifically, kind of noir stuff. And some of you may be familiar with the work of like Sue Bryce or Peter Hurley. And while their styles are quite different, they do very unique things. Sue Bryce, for instance, does a lot of women. And she does a very painterly type of imagery, which I really, really liked. Peter Hurley does a lot of headshots. Pretty high key stuff that he does, but it's very crisp. He likes the expression and emotion and the feeling of the image. So, I kind of played around in both of those fields, and what I landed in was a very sort of a painterly but yet noirish, emotional sort of style. That's what I love doing, and I like to think I'm at least okay with it. So again, it's just a matter of playing with what you've got in your arsenal and your life experiences, and applying that and work with it. Don't be so hard on yourself, regardless of what kind of art you do. Oh my God, you look? Well, you put it there. Of course I looked. Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Nothing wrong with that. You were asking if you didn't know it was real. It is real art. Seeing the world through your eyes versus our own. And that's what you want to try to convey with your work. Is you want people to see something that you want them to see, or manipulate the photograph or the composition in a way that has them think or feel a way that you are trying to convey. That's the important part of the art, in my opinion. That's what makes it work. The art I do is so hard to do because in winter it gets dark and lighting is just okay, and the summer is bright and there is so bright, many shadows. Sometimes I grab a flash. There's a flash on phones. You said you did phones, right? You got a flash on your phone? Did you? I'm sure somebody makes external flashes even for cell phones. Probably Bluetooth or something of that nature. I don't know. Is Bluetooth fast enough for something like that? It might have to be Wi-Fi. But don't see those things as being hard. See them as being a challenge. Take a challenge, go outside after dark, preferably where there's some kind of ambient light, whether it's the moon or it's street lights or a house light, and challenge yourself to take pictures in those settings to create something. And while you may not enjoy the results, I feel it will give you some more, you will feel more comfortable, and it will give you some more options and tools when shooting in instances that may not be optimal. That makes sense. Yes, there's a flash on the phone, yeah. And I know it may not be bright enough, especially if you're shooting large subjects such as trains and buses. It may not be large enough to cover them, but that's all right. Again, take that as a challenge to figure out what can you do with your art and the tools that you have to create something uniquely yours. Maybe it's macro photography of commercial transportation. Who knows what that might be, but try it. Because even if you don't find what you like in it, you will learn a lot from it and be able to use that knowledge in other aspects of the photography, or the composition, or the setting, or the time of day, whatever that might be. I don't bother with my phone much. I don't either, but I use a DSLR. I have been looking at some point and shoots. I'm going to Mexico later this year, down south of Cancun in Riviera Maya. And I'm looking at some point and shoots to maybe take with me. I don't know. I'll have to see. I haven't convinced myself. It's either get a good point and shoot, one of those water resistant point and shoots, or just get a damn GoPro and take it, so that when we're out on the ocean or whatever, I'm not worried about dropping my DSLR in several hundred feet of water. That would be nice. Always on the camera. Phones are limited for a lot of things. Yeah, but they're amazing anymore either, though. I mean, I have an older iPhone. I don't even know which one it is. 7, maybe. I think. Hell, I don't know. But then, yeah, the new 10s and all that they got out. The cameras on those, holy cow. Holy cow, and I turned my DPI way the heck up again. The problem in instances where lighting is not optimal, you can't choose because the transport mode has been my theme. Should you get it where it goes? Example, in train you can't move the train tracks. If you're on the wrong side, it's really bright. The shadows, same side. Especially when shooting in the middle of the day because you can't change. Do you shoot them moving? Or no? Because if you don't shoot them moving, a lot of phones support HDR imagery now too. You can try that. As far as lighting is concerned. And you can take over, I mean, I say a lot of phones. Many of the phones that I know about, and again, this is not my area of expertise, if you could even say I had one. But like the iPhones I know do. I even think my Samsung work phone does. You can change your own shutter speed and aperture to some degree with those as well. Do a mix of transport shots. Some I get in movement, some I get while they're parked. It's really hard because when they're moving, so being on the right side, yeah. And that time of day is the worst time for light than bad luck. Yeah, I was talking about like these dog photos. These are all, I live in Central Texas. The sun is very close to us here. It's close to the equator. And this is midday that I take these photos. And I use an on-camera flash. So this is pretty much the worst time of day to take any picture. And in some cases, it's quite obvious that it's the worst time. Now, dogs are a little bit different than people. Because dogs have a more horizontal face than a vertical face. Like people do. So it's harder for people. Not as hard for dogs, but it's still not that flattering either. But again, you have to take all the things, or not all of them, I mean, just one at a time. Take something that you believe is a problem for your art, something that makes it difficult for you to do your style of art, and figure out one way. Just figure out one way you could potentially work around that, and maybe it's only in a given situation, and then go try it. And, just kind of let those things build up. It gives you more tools for your arsenal, basically. We all have reasons why we can't do certain things, whether it's time or equipment, or, we all have reasons why we tell ourselves anyway that we can't do this or we can't do that or we can't do the other. And again, we create our own personal truths because we tell ourselves enough of that we end up believing it and we stop trying to do it. So you don't ever think that it's fine if you just kind of run out of energy for it or whatever. Believe me, I get it, but don't think that you can't, because you can. It's just a matter of how much time you think you can dedicate to it to make it happen, or what you're willing to do to make it happen. So there is that limitation, but don't think that you can't, because you can. Absolutely. Back to the puppies. We're not getting through them very fast, are we? We're only halfway through them. We've been streaming for a little over 2 hours now. This is typically a 3-hour process-ish, and that's after also doing the Photoshop stuff, which we haven't done yet. But anyway, let me get back to it here. So I think that's one of the better face shots that we got. We didn't get many photographs. I forgot if it's a him or her. Now again, a her. We didn't get too many photographs of her. That's probably going to be our body shot. Excuse me. So I didn't do a headshot already, right? No. We're going to use this as our headshot. Because it's pretty sharp. The lighting's decent. It's nothing to write home about, but it's pretty good. Those adorable ears. Yeah, I was afraid that would do that. A little too bright for my liking, so we're going to do it ourselves. And most of this, like I said, it's a matter of taste. It's what works for you and what you like to see, or how you like to see it. Only thing I suggest, as I suggested earlier, is and it's something that comes with time. So don't be too critical of yourself if it's not something you're currently doing, but try to be consistent with how you do what you do. It doesn't mean you always have to stay the same. You may decide at some point you want to change your style a little bit. And nothing wrong with that either. But trying to, working within in some kind of confines as far as end result can help you get to that result. And then you can decide whether it's something you want to keep. If not, move on to other things. But kind of keeping yourself in some kind of rule set, I think helps you refine the process. It makes what you do more valuable, not only to yourself, but to others. When you can reproduce a lot of the same results every time. Impoverished Zone, we were talking about that a little earlier, is that if you want to be as far as photography goes, if you want to be the go-to, to pardon the expression, but fast food photographer, if that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with that. You'll definitely have to put your business model around quantity as opposed to quality. Or I think you're at least going to sacrifice it that way if you're going to try to make a living at it. But one of the things I suggest is that you refine your style, because people are going to pay for your style. They are going to want you because of your style of work and what you bring to that artwork. They can go on the web and probably, if you live near any major city, and get one of 20 or 30 or 40 or 100 photographers that can take a picture. So why in the world would they pick you? 2 reasons: price and or style. So do you want to try to compete on pricing and put out photography, because you can only do so much? And if you're charging $30 for a picture, and you had to, you spent 8 hours creating that picture, how much did you make an hour? You got to think of things like that. But on the same token, if you put a lot of time and effort into the quality of your photograph and your art style, and people are coming to you for that, they will pay premium for that style. But you got to be able to reproduce that style reliably. And that goes with anything, any kind of artwork. If you're looking to financially benefit from your artwork anyway, your style is a big deal. Your brand. What makes your brand your brand. Use this for our body pick. And again, and if you haven't been around here before, again, thank you for coming by. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for stopping by and seeing us. I do tend to soapbox from time to time. And please, as always, all of my opinions, take them, and this is a pretty probably terrible phrase, but take them all with a grain of salt. I am an expert at nothing. These are all my opinions. Take the information, go out and do your own research and determine your own outcome. These are just my experiences, things that I have learned over the years, and things that I think are worth sharing, even if they're not the greatest of advice. So, you're amazing, man. You inspire me to go out and shoot what I should. I shot passenger trains, freight trains, tram or bus. Well, I'm glad it has inspired you in some way. If you live near a animal shelter or rescue, or a non-for-profit zoo, anything like that, offer your photography services to them. That's all I ask in return. Do something, go give back to your community in some way. Try to do that. It's a big deal. It's really important to get involved in your community. It's important that we give back. It's important that we not only help our local community, but we also advocate and instill in others to help in our community. Because communities that work together are much stronger communities, and they benefit from everything in a much greater, in a much grander fashion. So I highly suggest doing that if you can spare an hour or two a week. It takes me, it varies between an hour and 2 hours at the shelter to take these photographs. And then if I'm not streaming it, I can edit all these photographs in about 2 hours. So 3 hours a week for around 10 dogs to get them decent photographs and marketing material, marketing images. Now, since I started streaming it, it takes me about right around 8 hours a week. So, it considerably increased the time. However, I have it available, and it lets me interact with you guys, and it lets me advocate for the animals, and it lets me help try to convince you to get involved with your community and even potentially with your local shelters or rescues, or just, with your local non-for-profit organizations, whatever that might be. And if I can do that, it's worth the time. And if it gets one of you out there to do it, and maybe that one person gets another person, and before you know it, we got a whole world full of people advocating and working with their local community. So you can't beat that for 8 hours a week. Anyway, bye. I'm going out to photograph a shoot. Awesome. Good luck to you. Looking forward to seeing some of your work. Fantastic day. But that's part of my goals with what I do here. It's not just about taking the pictures, not just about the editing. It's about advocating. It's about talking to you guys about it. And thank you for the follow, Queen Zoe. I really do appreciate it. Welcome to the community. And we do this every Sunday. Typically, without exception, you can always follow me on Twitter for up-to-the-minute updates. If for some reason a stream is not going to happen, I will always post it there and the why. Or some other events come up. We also do some game streams and things like that here as well. But Sundays is our puppy day. For sure. All right, headshot. Body shot. And we just need another shot that we like. And that looks a lot like the body shot, so I don't think there's really a point to that one. Head turn, same with the body shot. So it looks like we're going to be kind of stuck with this one. We didn't get a bunch of this particular dog, but that's all right. Not the sharpest image either. And again, I'll typically auto these first and see what, because Lightroom just tries to take the histogram and sort of straighten it out, if you will. Which sometimes it can work fine, sometimes it doesn't, but it always gives a great starting point. Well, I say always. Most of the time it'll give a good starting point. And you can just kind of tweak it from there. To me, it's just a faster workflow to do it that way than it is to go through and just tweak. Again, for what I'm doing here, that's what works. Next we have Grizzly. This is that German Shepherd I was talking about earlier that was fairly young. 11 months old. It says Husky Shepherd, but man, he looked all Shepherd to me. Well, he does have a little bit of a wider nose. But he needed work. He needed a job, whether that's some kind of a police dog or just some kind of working dog. He really wanted to please the volunteer that was handling him, but he also couldn't sit still. So he had a lot of drive and a lot of energy to do something. And if you'd put him to work, oh my gosh, he would kill it. You could just tell from the way he behaved. So hopefully they'll get him out to a German Shepherd rescue or some kind of training program where he'll be able to put all those energies to use. Because, you take a dog like him and you put him in a home, well, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are lots of great homes that would be able to provide for him perfectly. I think he would be happier, just from what I read from him, he would be much happier as a working dog of having a job to do. It just seemed like he had that drive, that German Shepherd drive. He was a busybody, so I'm hoping I got some non-blurry pictures of him. There, his eyes are closed. That's going to be useless. Really pretty shot there. That's a body shot. A little crooked. Again, he was a busybody, so a lot of this was kind of shooting from the hip that we could get. really pleased with this, because this would be my body shot, this could be my other shot, but then I still need a face shot, and no other image has him looking straight at the camera. So, what can we do with that? We could use something like this. Actually, we could use that for our other shot. Use that for our face shot. I guess we'll do that. I don't really like, I like this one better. But we really need that face shot. So I think that's how we're going to play it. We're going to pull a face shot out of this one. And then see what that other one looks like. And you know, again, this process totally depends on you and what you think looks good. But it's just important that you're somewhat consistent. And in my particular case, it doesn't have to be super consistent from dog to dog, but it does need to be consistent within the images of that particular animal, because they're displayed together in most cases. And it would look really bizarre if, oh, one they're yellow and one they're white and one they're dark and one they're light, you know, you see what I'm saying. Try to keep that consistency in there. Alright, face shot, body shot. And my camera's set on daytime white balance here. That's why you haven't seen me jack with it in Lightroom, because I'm completely comfortable with the way my camera does it. Not photo merge. There we go. But you may not. You may choose to do it a different way. And here we're gonna go, because of this 1-1, get absolutely terrible composition, but it's the only way I can get his whole body in the picture and it not look completely trashed. So just gotta kind of live with it. Yep, I'm good with that. Face shot, body shot, and we're going to use this one as our last shot. So actually, there's a really nice shot. The question is, how do I want to compose this? Let's see what this looks like. Versus something more generic. I think I like it the other way, honestly. Holy yellow Batman. That grass, there's a lot of that dead grass. But we left it over there, so probably should have straightened that horizon out on this one though. That was bad on my part. Yeah, that midday light, it's not optimal. But that's just when I can get up there and do it. So That's what I had to work with. And I mean, I think it's made me a better photographer for it, because I've worked with so many of these images now that you'd start seeing things you wouldn't normally see when you start doing things that you wouldn't normally do, I guess is the best way to explain it. You know, when I catch these midday suns like this, sometimes I'm not always thinking about the color of the coat of the dog. Now, I've kind of broken myself from that now, but originally, you know, for quite some time, I wasn't. While I did subconsciously correlate it, I never really put a lot of emphasis on it, because it never really gave me, for whatever reason, it never really gave me a lot of problems. Well, this year it has given me a lot of problems. I say that I've had a lot of issues come up where I didn't think about it enough to you know, change the shutter speed enough to kill enough ambient to not get those blowouts. I don't know why it's been such a big deal this year, but it has been. So I paid a lot more attention to it. So in my opinion, it's made me a better photographer because of it. And that's why I was mentioned earlier about, you know, with any art, whether it's photography or not, or something else, is that take on those things, take on those challenges, those things that you think stop you from doing what you do, and you think make your work lesser of your expectation, and do something with it. You know, first of all, don't be so damn hard on yourself, because it's an art. You know, it takes a minute to develop those skills. But don't be afraid of it either, because some of the greatest things in life, that you can ever hope to have or obtain or experience. It's important. Some of the greatest things in life that you can ever hope to obtain or experience are just right on the other side of fear. Just right on the other side of it. It's an intimidating thing to think about, and we're all subject to it, and we're all victims of it. and you know, we're all prisoners of it in some cases. But it's there, right on the other side of fear. And fear can be many things. It doesn't literally mean, oh my gosh, I'm scared of that. It's mean, you know, I don't want to do that because I might fail at it. That's fear. Sometimes we create excuses out of fear. Fear of our own personal, we're afraid of letting ourselves down. Particularly, I know with the creatives, it can be a real thing. You are afraid of letting yourself down. You're afraid of not living up to your own expectations. You're afraid of feeling like you're not in par with everybody else. Poverish, hey, welcome back. Puppy. I love that puppy icon. That's cute. Franker Z. Nice. I can't wait to get Jackson unlocked. Yeah, lots of puppies. That's awesome. But yeah, it's all everything you could ever hope for, everything you could ever want that you currently don't have. And I know this is kind of simplifies things, so take it for what it is, but it's right on the other side of fear. And many times, and I've noticed, you know, I've done this myself, it's an irrational fear. It's something that I have created myself, and I put my own roadblock in my way and convinced myself in one way, shape, or form that it's not going to happen. So, lots of puppies. Puppy icons. Yeah, I think I have a few as well. That's so cute. I think I'm going to use that for my face shot. I really like that one. But take what you have, take what you've got, and share it. Knowledge is nothing if not shared. And a person who thinks they know everything learns nothing. Two very important things that I try to, again, keep in mind. I was, a long time ago, I worked for a company. I worked in the automotive field. That was my first time in college, that I went to college at a high school. I went for automotive technician. From that, I did become ASE certified. I did work in a commercial environment on automobiles. Of course, I've since decided that wasn't my gig, but I did it. I'm gonna blow it on the head there. But I found in that particular industry, at least for me at the time, and maybe it was a regional thing, who knows why, and it's been a few years back too. Maybe that had a little bit to do with it as well, but I found some people to be very closed-minded, and they didn't, I say closed-minded, that's probably not the greatest word to choose. While there was a little bit of that, it was more like selfish with their knowledge. They felt like, unfortunately, the knowledge that they had was so important to their happiness and well-being that they were unwilling to share it. That it somehow gave them the advantage, and they were, I don't know, and this is some of my own conjecture here, but something about the knowledge they had was something that they couldn't live without. That knowledge made them unique in what they were and who they were, and without that, they would be less of a person, or less of a being, or less a contributor, or whatever the case might be. And it's a sad thing, in my opinion. But I ran into it a lot, where they were unwilling to share their knowledge. They were unwilling to share their experiences, other than condescendingly, and in other words, to otherwise prove to you that you didn't know what the hell you were doing. And a lot of us have ran into this probably throughout our lives, especially if you're an older person. You've ran into somebody like this in your life that thinks that, the only way that they can really make themselves feel worthwhile is to put you down. So it's an elitist attitude. Yeah, well, I don't know. I do get where you're coming from. And while I definitely agree that can absolutely manifest those kind of behaviors. Some people, I don't think, do it intentionally, or at least knowing it, the full force or full effect of what they're doing. Because I know in my past, I have done this. Not intentionally, knowingly, but not with something like that in mind. So, it does make me second guess sometimes when I see people do it, if they're really doing it intentionally to be that person, or if it's unintentional and they just don't think of the full consequences of what they do. I know a person who thinks they know it all and has no problem telling you what an idiot you are. Yeah, how is that beneficial to anyone? How is that anything other than self-serving? To give an example of just like you did, it's a person who thinks they know everything and has no problem telling you what an idiot you are. That's a very egotistical and self-serving way of going through life. Don't be that person. It's totally cool if you think you know a lot about a topic. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Some people do know a lot about particular topics. Some people way more than they should, in my opinion. But, I don't know how to pronounce that, and I apologize for that, but thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the community. But, to take what you know and share it with someone, it's a very cool thing to do, first of all. It's a very helpful thing to do, but it says a lot about your character. And it does take some confidence in yourself to do that. Everybody knows something about something. You're not an idiot, And knowing your limitations, though, is also a big thing. You got to know what you know. You don't know what you don't know, as a commonly coined term. But take what you do know, be very humble about it, and share it with people. Share it with someone. Like I said earlier, you are uniquely positioned to see the world in a very unique way that is specific to you and you alone. because our experiences shape us into who we are. They shape us into what we see, how we experience them, what we think about them, stuff we like, stuff we don't like. Our experience shapes that. But you gotta understand and be respectful of the fact that other people have the same experience. In the art world, this is a huge thing in color theory, because color theory is a very, very cultural thing. In some cases, it can have several definitions within the same culture depending on context. So, thinking in those terms and realizing that, while you are communicating something to someone, while you may have an expertise in that field, you may not have an expertise at where they're talking about. So sharing your expertise with the disclosure that that's your opinion, this is your experience with it, is a huge help to people, especially other creatives, because they can put that in their criticism or critique toolbox and apply that moving forward. So you've now shared your experience, and hopefully they've done the same with you, and you get to do the same. And this is how we all learn and build and grow and work together. But saying, I know everything about a topic, you don't know crap, you're an idiot, that's such a... There's no point in even saying anything if that's what you think. There's no point in sharing that opinion, because it's totally egotistical and self-serving. But my mom used to say, "Was an idiot." Well, I'm sorry to hear that. If that was the case, I know you said joking after that, but that's unfortunate. But some of us have been through it. I was, I'm not one to play my own fiddle here, but I had a very bumpy childhood. I was subject to a lot of mental abuse, not so much physical, thankfully, but mental. But, and a lot of people will also, and don't get me wrong. Again, these are all my opinions. They're coming from my point of view. You take them with a grain of salt. If you can do anything with this information, great. If you're having problems, see a professional. I am not that person. I'm just sharing with you some of my experiences. But I don't even know exactly where the hell I was going with that now. But some people use that as an excuse for bad behavior, for doing things terrible to other people. Oh, well, I beat my wife, or I beat my girlfriend because I was, abused when I was a child. That's a terrible excuse. Don't do that. Don't do that, period. Seek help for that kind of stuff. But, on the same token, going through those experiences that make you uniquely you not only gives you a super creative visualization of the world around you, but it can make you a better person in general. I like to think my childhood did for me, made me a better person, because I seen a lot of terrible things in my younger years. I've been in a lot of not so great places. I've been in some incredibly scary situations, life-threatening situations in several cases. But it taught me a lot about the things that I didn't want. It taught me about the person I did not want to be. So I guess there's two different kinds of people. It can teach you the kind of person you don't want to be, or it can teach you the only kind of person that you can be. So, it's what you take from that situation that's going to form what you do with it. And it's how those people give you that information that is also going to determine how you move forward with it. If I come to you screaming about a problem or something that I don't like about what you did or what you're doing, and I'm just, being all irate about it, because you are a human being, you are immediately going to go defensive. So at that point, I'm just screaming, and I'm creating a very tense and uncomfortable situation for everybody, and I'm not getting anything accomplished on my behalf or on yours. But now if I can come to you with some kind of a debate, perhaps even an argument about something, and I can do it in a somewhat constructively, preferably not even passive-aggressive fashion, but some people, that's just how they communicate, we stand a much better chance of ironing out that issue. And that's how I see it, and that's how I work with it. And it's different for everybody. But, again, full circle back to your artwork. Let your life experiences guide you through what your art communicates and what it means and what it does for you and what it might do for people that enjoy it. And share it. Share the work. It is never as bad as you think it is, and there are people out there that will enjoy it as much as you do. Share it, because that's what art is for. It is there. It is a visual medium to be shared. So share it, and don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it. Own it. Work with it. Get better at it if you don't like what it is. Change it if you don't like what it is. But don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. And just keep on doing it. And eventually you'll get exactly where you want to be. And it's all, again, just on the other side of fear. So with that, I'm going to AFK for just a second, take a break. I need to go to little boy's room, get up and stretch the legs, pump the legs a little bit. We've got a few more puppies here to edit. Looks like we've got 2 more pictures with Darlene, and then we have two more puppies. So thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Stand by. We'll be right back. Oh, that's much better. Got up stretched a minute. Get sitting here too long. Things start getting stiff. I'm referring to your back and things of that nature. I know where you're going with that. But, you know, if you haven't been to my channel before, I hope there's been no sticker shock here. Those of you that have know that, you know, I tend to soapbox from time to time. It's who I am. Take it all with a grain of salt. Not a professional. Always consult one if you need to do so. We got a few more pictures here to do. We got a shot. We didn't get. We need a body shot and a personality shot. But, you know, and some of you also are photographers in here, of course. And glad to have you. But, you know, I love to hear about your processes and maybe why you do what you do. Even if it's not photography, maybe you draw, maybe you write, whatever that is. I like hearing the stories that motivate people to do things. Again, as kind of an amateur psychology enthusiast, I like hearing the stories because it gives me new perspectives on how people work and the things that drive them. I find it fascinating, to say the least. That's a really cute body shot. I like his head turned there. Here his head's in shadow from that tree. And here he's not looking at the camera. And now I'm losing the crap out of frames as I bounce around because this isn't GPU accelerated. I guess I'll switch back to desktop capture. That's what I'm going to have to do sooner or later. So that we don't have to deal with that. But that's really cute. I like it. Pretty good. Use that there. Head shot. Got a body shot. Now we need some kind of just a shot that we like. Kind of cute, a little bit soft. That's cute. A very submissive look. Excuse me, hiccups. A hiccup attack, apparently. Well, a little bit blown out on his head there. Touch there. I think I'm gonna try something with this. Heavy crop. And generally, when I do a picture of an animal, or a person for that matter, that's not looking at the camera, I really like them to look across the frame rather than out of it like this. I like them to look across it, which really is just a matter of taking the eye and shifting it a little bit to one side. I think compositionally it's better. In a 1x1, it's not as flattering, I don't think. It doesn't have the same effect. But, or should I say it's not as strong as effect? I don't think. But it still accomplishes a lot of the same. Which it makes the composition feel roomier. It makes it feel like it's in a place. And it's not like they're walking out of the picture. They're walking into it, through it. It makes you wonder, where are they going? What are they doing? And again, we're not being overly critical of a lot. Like, this is even pretty soft. And we'll sharpen it up probably a little bit in post, but these all go out low res for social media, so not super critical of them. Malware Bytes. Your premium trial expires in 23 hours. Thank you for the information. And we'll crop this down. But yeah, you know, like I was saying a minute ago, I'm really curious, and nobody's really chimed in yet, which it may be a little bit of a vulnerable question. Hope not. Hope you don't think it is. But I'm curious what what makes you do what you do? You know, as far as art goes, whether, you know, regardless of what that is, or just what makes you do the things that you enjoy. It doesn't even necessarily have to be art. Maybe you would like talking to people. Maybe you like fixing things. Maybe you like whatever that is. You know, what drives you? Wow, that's a pretty bad picture. Makes him look kind of mean. Year-old male Danny. But I've explained a little bit about, that's a cute head tilt, what kind of drives me to do what I do. And I am curious what drives you guys to do what you do. And here's eyes closed, so that's not going to do me any good. That's not a bad headshot, because everything else is lost on it. But the headshot portion of it, I think will work out. So we're going to snag that. Develop settings, pace settings. And I know this is very off horizontal for the ground plane, but we're not going to see much of it anyway, so I'm not overly concerned with it. It's just the angle that we took it. I just do what I enjoy. Nothing too deep about it. Poetry, jewelry, jewelry making. Wow. Lack of a comma. Yeah, English, believe it or not, is my first language, and only for that point. Fishing. Oh, I love fishing too. Being out in nature. I do too. I really like nature. And love animals. Yep, absolutely. Well, and it's not that I was implying there's necessarily something deep about it. The fact that it is human behavior in itself makes it deep, in my opinion. But just what drives people to do what they do. You know, that's all I was kind of referring to. Back, sorry, was AFK talking with Red Eye. He's in the shop now. I expect a call in a bit. Oh, looks nice. His words meaning how heavy it is carrying him back to the car. Nice. But you know, usually you have something in your past that kind of drives you to do it. Whether maybe you had a close-knit family, and you know, building those connections is something that's important for you, or maybe you didn't have the greatest childhood, so you know it's important. You know, you feel better when you do this, that, or whatever. You know, again, just kind of the curiosity of what makes people tick. I've always been somewhat fascinated with. Another eyes closed picture. So he, I guess ODG that Red Eye decided to buy prepackaged. Fishing reminds me of my dad. Yeah, mine too. My father and I didn't have the best relationships. I say the best relationships. The simple truth of it is my father was an alcoholic for as long as I can remember. I could probably count on one hand how many times I had ever been near him when he wasn't intoxicated. And that's a tough thing to deal with, especially when you're younger. I mean, he had his moments. He taught me how to hunt. He taught me how to fish. Started my interest in working on automobiles and things like that. But we had as I got older and I started to see the issues and how they were affecting the entire family, I guess I started to resent it a bit, and him as a result, and what he did and his choices. So, you know, it was a pretty tense relationship, to say the least. And he passed a long time ago. He passed of cirrhosis of the liver. Alcohol killed him. So not only did he develop a dependency that ruined his life and cut his life very short, but also of everyone around him that loved him. You know, and that's an unfortunate thing of chemical dependency. I've never actually sat down and tried to put it into words in so much as the feelings that come along with all that. And some of you may relate, some of you may not. Again, I'm not trying to be heavy and I'm not trying to unload on you here. I'm just giving you some of my perspective on things that drive me to be the person I am, to do the things I do, my art, things of that nature. He's buying a pre-built. Damn, he'll regret it. I bet within the first week he's going to tell one of us he wishes he would have built it instead. We'll see. But you know, I thought about going out and doing talks at places of, you know, that are rehabilitation centers for chemical dependency on how it affected our family and my life. And I think I can thankfully and amazingly say, you know, at my age, which I'm not old, but I'm not a spring chicken either, I've never done an illegal drug in my life. I have had access to all of them. I have been offered all of them. I have been in lots of situations where it would have been extremely easy to do any and all of them. Never have. And it's something to be said. I'm proud of that fact. Not necessarily something to be proud of. A great, for instance, you know, is there some things out there that are dubbed illegal that may be questionable whether or not they should be. But, you know, I've never done that. And it's amazing for me that I went through the upbringing that I did and the childhood I did and had direct interface with all of these things and have never dealt with them. I tried to get him to build one, but he isn't in that. Well, it is what I still think he'll regret it a bit. Or I don't say he'll regret it. I think he'll inquire about what do they call it? Buyer's remorse. But I don't know. Hopefully he just gets him a good computer that he likes and works for him and he's happy with it. I really do hope that he gets that. But I still think he should have built it. He has a great body shot. Got his feet cut off, but it's a really great stance. Let's see what we get there. But yeah, I have an appreciation for people that have dealt with it and that are going through it. The helplessness that goes along with it. The feeling of responsibility, the feeling of guilt, helplessness, all those mixed things that can come along with that. Not understanding, frustrations, anger, sorrow. I mean, it's all in there at one point in time or another. But we all have to kind of deal with it in our own way. Art, in a lot of ways, helps me. It helps me. It helps me identify. I think a lot of times photography helps me relate more to the natural world and the things around us and the natural beauty of things, and being part of something larger than yourself. I think that's a pretty big, and that's still 16:9. That's a pretty big deal. That I don't personally feel a ton of people get or relate to. It's not that they don't know it. They just don't really relate to it. It's a bit of an abstract concept to some people. Of feeling like you're part of something larger. And that you are a very small cog in a very big machine. But, you know, on the flip side of that, you can be, you know, that very, if it wasn't for that one very small cog, the whole damn machine won't work. You know, and I know it's a bit of an exaggeration. Again, a bit melodramatic, but you kind of get what I'm saying. My mom basically treated me like crap growing up. My dad did his best to defend me. I was a total daddy's girl, to say the least. Yeah, and it comes from all sides. It's men, it's women, it's parents, it's children. Some children do it to their parents. Not that I'm necessarily blaming the child, and that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, it's a tough thing to deal with. It again, those kind of experiences. I went through. I didn't go through hell. It was rough. Don't get me wrong, but they afforded me so many things to think about and helped me become who I am and gave me the appreciations of what I have and made me humble enough to appreciate those things. Without those experiences, I would be a totally different person. I would just be completely different. My art would be completely different. Everything about me would be totally different. So, I'm in a bizarre kind of way thankful I was raised the way I was, because it taught me so much. My father may not have specifically taught me a lot about how to be a man and how to what it means to stand for your word and to be to provide for your family and to be an important part of your children's lives and all that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely discrediting him. He did offer some guidance in some of those situations, albeit indirectly. But he definitely indirectly influenced it by showing me everything I didn't want to be. So I got to see that firsthand. And that was a big help. So, taking that, eyes are closed, they're taking that positive from the negatives. That's what I gained from it. So, like I mentioned before, what everything we've been through is how we see everything. That's what makes us uniquely us and gives us a unique outlook. And I was saying earlier, it was my English teacher that explained this to me long time ago, and English has never been my strong suit, but we were doing creative writing, and English was always my worst subject. I never was the hugest fan of it, primarily because I wasn't very good at it. And we were doing some creative writing, and I was telling my English teacher, I was like, I don't know what to do here. There's like, well, dude, let's talk about something you're passionate about. I was like, I'm not passionate about anything enough to write about it. And while that wasn't completely true, it was more to the point that I didn't know how to write well enough to communicate what I might be passionate about. I think that it was more what it boiled down to. But then they had brought that, that whole idea and kind of sank it in my head, is that you're the only person that can tell your story from your point of view on the planet. Your story is uniquely yours, and you're the only one that can tell it that way. So it gives you something rare and unique to hang on to. It gives you, like, oh, wow, that's kind of a cool idea. I like that idea. We all have a story. We might not think it's very amazing because we lived it. But people that didn't might find it fascinating. But they may not. Who knows? You're not going to make everyone happy. Something else you learn very quickly in art, or probably even in politics, which we don't really get into on the channel, but you get the idea. You're not going to please everyone. It's not going to happen. You will not make everyone happy. Do not try. I don't think we're going to use this for a face shot. Yeah, it's bulldog mix, I think. I could be completely wrong. Now I'm curious and want to go look. You're really sweet as well. Hey, cats. Oh, I see why I did that now, because of a little bit of really bright on the nose. Medina. Dog must be a little bit funky. Right? I'm going to paste these settings on here because I need to crop it anyway. Cute patch over the eye. Yep. Yep. Adorable. Pretty sweet too. A pit bull mix. Seemed a little short. But, you know, that's the whole mix part of the eye patch. Look at little pirate action. So there we got our face shot. And then the body shot. Don't really like that one. I think we're going to go with this one for the body shot, which is almost the same as the headshot, but as far as the angle and everything goes. I did the same thing here. Headshot, body shot. Is there anything else of interest here? That is not a good pose, period. Get rid of that. Great minds think alike. They do often come to the same conclusions, for sure. It's kind of cute. It's leaning out. I guess he's pulling on the leash a bit. I don't know. Let's see what we can make out of it. Now this is an interesting picture in that while his body implies that he's walking forward, his head is looking the other way. So I've got kind of conflicting information here. Do I show him walking through the screen? Or if I do it like that, he's technically walking out of it, but he's not looking out of it. I guess that's probably the best way to do it, is do it this way. That way the visual interest is still on the opposite side of the picture. Sliding it back a little bit. There we go. So we got headshot, body shot, and technically that's another body shot, personality shot, whatever we want to call it. Now I'm a bit scared of what in the world this is going to do to my frames when I go over to Photoshop, but we're going to try it here. So I know it's blank for you. It doesn't show the list for whatever reason. I'm going to do it that way, but once I move it over to Photoshop from Lightroom, it should pop up. Yep. Although it's a little weird on the scale for whatever bizarre reason. Bear with me, I'm gonna fix that. Maybe. Okay, here we go. I don't know why that's so short. It shouldn't be. That's very weird. That should scale with that, but it does not. It is scaling with the edge, or with the left edge. Very strange indeed. All right. Well, I guess we do have the 53 frames. Not too bad there. We do have the leash in here to some degree. And as always, we just kind of take a big whack at the edit and see if the healing brush will knock it out real quick. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, we'll pick another way. But it actually seems like it did a pretty decent job right there. So we'll leave it that way. OBS scaling gets me every time. Can never remember. It's Control-Alt-Shift to change it. Yeah, I was just actually resizing the Photoshop, not in OBS. OBS is set up to target Photoshop. It's supposed to be recording Photoshop, and that's why I wasn't real sure why that did that way. It should have automatically changed the window to fit what the hell I was capturing. It was weird. Very strange. We are at shadows 24%. That should be okay, I think. Brighten those eyes up a little bit. Fix these little eye boogers. Tears. If there's something on an animal that wouldn't normally be there, like eye boogers and things like that, I do take them out. But if it's something that the dog will have permanently, I do not. In my opinion, it's just not very ethical to do so. So there's that one. And yes, I'm sorry, you have to look at a blank screen here for a minute while I grab the next picture. Whoops, did not mean to click that button. No, I've got all my windows jacked up. There we go. Alright, well. And the same deal, we'll use our healing brush to kind of take big whacks at it here and see if it'll do what we like. If not, we'll go about it differently. Sometimes it totally blows my mind how well it does, and sometimes I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? So, kind of a hit and miss thing. Like this, I just took a big old chunk of this. Let's see how it does. And it could have done better. It could have done worse. I think it did it good enough that we can go in and make it work. Smooth size, 100%, 37% flow. So, as I always say when I start doing this editing, we are not looking to recreate reality. All we are looking to do here is not draw attention to it. So if it doesn't draw your attention and you don't feel something's weird about it as a viewer, we win. We have won the Fooled You game. Which is how most of those Photoshop edit things get out there and screw people around. Because whatever they did just didn't stand out enough for it to grab your attention. Because as people, we're very, we just evolved this way, but we are very, very good at picking up things like patterns, contrast, color changes, variations. So it can be a task sometimes to really fool somebody when you're editing. But between, I'm working with such a large image here, and it gets exported so small that it's pretty easy for me to do in that context anyway. And I'm gonna do this. And we'll clean this up a little more here in just a second. Yep. Back up. I'm going to turn down the opacity a bit. Opacity. I'm going to kind of melt this stuff together here. And that's not where I wanted that. I want this. Something just doesn't feel real good about that. And that right there is probably the biggest you ever see that picture. So not only do I love puppy pics, but love watching the process. It's cool too, seeing how technology has changed in my lifetime. Yeah, it's been nuts how much technology has changed. In mine as well. Been crazy. what's it, 7 year, technology advances 7 years for every year. Isn't that how it works? That's what the estimates are. And that may have changed by now. Hell, I don't know. Very possible. Yeah, there was like I said, I don't know why, I've been on this YouTube rabbit hole kick of, I've been watching a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson because I've always been an astrophysicist. I've always been intrigued with astrophysics. Let me put it that way. I've always been it always excites my imagination. I don't know shit about it. I'm an idiot when it comes to the topic, but I always love hearing it. And he's a really great guy. He's a great educator. Should listen to about the whole thing. That, and I kind of fell into that after going through series about, and I forget what the gentleman's name was, but talking about AI, artificial intelligence, what it is and where it's going and what it might mean. And how did he explain it? He explained artificial intelligence becoming autonomous. I think he said, how did he say? He said to believe that AI will become autonomous, you only have to believe two things. One of those is that technology will continue to advance, and that we won't self-destruct as a species. As long as neither of those two things happen, artificial intelligence will become autonomous. And, you know, with that, there's so many questions and so many possibilities and so many, you know, moral and ethical decisions that have to be made. And how does that work? And who makes those decisions? It's a very big, mind-blowing rabbit hole to go down to even think about all that stuff. It is coming. It is inevitable. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. You know, now whether or not artificial intelligence can become sentient, that's a whole different argument, ball game, whatever. But just for the fact that it will become autonomous and it will be able to, you know, ultimately, I guess, serve people. You know, at what point is and again, it's not really conspiracy theory stuff, but just, you know, the imagination, thinking about things. You know, at what point might it be possible that an artificial intelligence that is when we need artificial intelligence, it helps solve a lot of the world's problems by doing computations that we can't, you know, it would take us 20 years and they can do it in 10 minutes. You know, we need that kind of processing power in today's world, in today's economy, and with all the, you know, situations that we go through on a daily basis. But at what point, if you have an artificial intelligence that has the best interests of the human race at heart, is it the human race's best interest to not be there, or there to be significantly less of it? You know, it's very, very curious and real questions like that they intrigue me, and I'm sure they do a lot of people. He's got a fur patch where she got spayed, and that's where they had her IV at. I'm gonna leave it though. But, you know, and I get stuck, you know, and sometimes I'll fall down the whole TEDx hole, watch and binge on a bunch of those. I don't know, I get on my kicks. Like I said, today and yesterday it's been Neil deGrasse Tyson and some of his interviews and work. These need twos. And a third. And we didn't do squat with that horizon line in the last one. We should have done it here. I don't know why we didn't. It's probably too busy jacking my jaw, not paying attention. It's the most likely culprit. And I know you couldn't see any of that, but this picture I'm bringing over was very crooked on the horizontal horizon line, like the last one was, only this one I actually edited before. Neil deGrasse Tyson as well, he makes me think, let me back up. Oh yeah, He makes me think about such things. Yeah, he has a, and actually he did a little bit of talking about this point too, and being an educator and what it means to be an educator and how you can engage people. And his point was that a lot of teachers don't reach their students, or the people that they're trying to reach, because they don't entertain people and they're not passionate about it. And people see that. They can sense it. They can tell you're not excited about it, and they're sitting here nodding off. They don't care about what you're saying. But if you're excited about it, then odds are they're going to get excited about it, or at least stay engaged in it. His whole thing on that. But yeah, he's really good at entertaining while he does it. He makes mistakes. He says things that you're sometimes like, wow, really? Did you just say that? But that makes him real. That makes him, he's not a drone, he's not some bot. He doesn't come across as someone that thinks he's better than everyone else. And I think that's a big reason why he's so successful, is because that's how he comes across. So, and there's been several educators like that. But he's definitely one of the most predominant, has been for a while, I think. At least in the general public's eye. I'm sure there are many others in the academia and professional circles. But I really enjoy. I enjoy the theory. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of feeds my creativity, the possibilities, and the way that. And it's also something, people might say, I don't listen or watch blah blah blah. Some kind of scientific. And I'm specifically talking about the scientific field here, because I don't understand anything about it. And I actually think that's more of a reason to do it. And it's not even for necessarily the sake of learning it. It's for the sake of bringing very few biases or preconceived notions into the subject. And for something like science, that can be a breakthrough thing, not bringing those human biases and preconceived notions into the logic of thinking about a problem, or trying to sort out how to solve something. It may very well be that solves it. The not knowing, the not having failed a particular thing before. So I'm not, of course, saying that is the way it should be done, but I'm saying that's a good reason to get involved with it. For sure. That's a really weird looking wall. I don't know what all that weird shading is about. There's not a great way for me to fix it other than pulling the wall over, and honestly that's too much work for what this is. This doesn't need that much. Yeah, art, science, philosophy, and I guess you could say I'm kind of a student of life in general. I know very little about all of it, but I'm very intrigued by most of it. Yeah, I know, I didn't mean to hit it twice. Get off my case, man. 2, 3, bring that to the top, collapse that, onto the next dog. You know a lot more than me. Well, I mean, I don't know that I'd go that far. And I say that, meaning, please don't confuse my willingness to share my ignorance with that of knowledge. Just because I said it does not mean it's the right thing at all. I'm just not afraid to share it. I don't care. I'm not the brightest guy on the block. But I'm good with that, and I know that. But that, to me, that's a great thing. If you at least have an idea of what you don't know, that's a win. Because then you're open to learning. and experiencing other things. So, you know, if anybody disagrees with me, please do in chat. I'm more than happy to debate or even try to defend a point or not, or maybe you change my mind. Hell, who knows? Maybe I change yours. Maybe we can just be ignorant together. You know, that's what it's all about, right? Something red on the ground back there. And tongue hanging out still kills me. And get the same thing in the next picture. This is going to be a bit tricky, I think. Just because of the angles of the dangles. Oh, that works. Tongue hanging out still. Very funny. Very funny expression. I'm getting hungry. It's 6:30. Holy cow. I think what we'll probably do is edit one more puppy here, and then I'm going to call it there, and I'm going to go eat. And I'll probably finish these up while I eat. We may come back on a little bit later and do some gaming, maybe. I don't know. But my belly is super hungry right now. Well, where in the hell's the rest of the pictures? Okay, body and headshot. So we still need... Still need this one. And again, sorry, I know you're not seeing anything but a black screen. Unfortunately, that's kind of how the damn thing works right now. So we are going to... I need to adjust that. Adjust that, where the hell is it? The threshold on this gate. There we go. Because it's cutting me off a lot. I already had dinner, a bit of chili and bacon. Ooh, chili sounds so good right now. Chili sounds amazing. My wife doesn't eat chili. Sacrilege, I say, but... Now, both of my daughters will eat chili. But not the wife. She has a very curious palate, I guess you could say. I'm not a huge fan of it either, but sometimes a craving hits me. I love a good chili. Love it. When you give me a good chili, Reese's peanut butter cups, and Amberbach, and I'll live off that forever. Not a problem. Which is another shitty thing. I can't get Amberbach here. They won't import it into Texas for whatever stupid reason. And it's a county by county thing too. If you, now I don't know exactly how this works, but the gist of it is you can't take alcohol over county lines. That's the gist of it. Now, I don't know if that's specifically for commercial use only, but it is that county to county. Like, to my knowledge, if you had a chain store, and at both of those stores you sold a particular liquor, and one store was out and you wanted to bring some from your other store, I don't think you can if it's in a different county. I don't think. I think that's kind of the way it was explained to me. Of course, I could also be completely wrong, but I think that's how they explained it. It's a very bizarre thing, I think. Yeah, alcohol laws here are weird, even here in Oklahoma. Really? Yeah, I've never, well, I say I've never stopped in Oklahoma. I think we've stopped at a gas station or two there, but, excuse me. I've never been there for any length of time. We usually cut through the southeastern corner of it, going from like Illinois down to Texas. It's like St. Louis area down to Texas. Take that toll road. I just was never a big fan of Oklahoma. I mean, sorry if that offends in some way, but it just never really appealed to me, personally. It was never a place where it's like, hey, you know, I want to go see what this is about, or this town or that town, other than some of the country music. And I'm not a big country music fan, but I do very much respect the history of Oklahoma and what it's played in that. I'm not a fan of Oklahoma. Not offended at all. I'm not a fan of Oklahoma either. Yeah, we're probably, none of us are big fans of where we're from, because it's kind of the norm for us, probably. I don't know. I'm sure there are beautiful parts of that state. I'm sure there has to be. Good with that. Oh, back's getting stiff again. My sister's been trying to get me to move over by Houston. That's where she's at, over by the refineries. I don't know. I'm in a very small town outside of Austin, and I really like it here. My wife and I both really, really like it here. Unfortunately, though, I'm about 900 miles away from my grandson, which is tough. And also 900 miles away from one of my daughters. My other daughter does live down here. I got a lot of family quite a ways away as well. I do miss them terribly sometimes, but I do not regret it. I do not regret. Well, I moved here from the Midwest down to Texas. Because of the weather mostly. I got tired of the cold and the nasty weather and the humidity and the heat I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with heat. It's the humidity and the cold and the crappy weather that I'm tired of. How many kids and grandkids do you? I've got 2 girls and I have 1 grandson. That's it. Both of my daughters are well, one's 24 and one's 25. One's biological, one's from my marriage. She's my stepdaughter. Although I'm in the process of adopting her, so just waiting for some paperwork. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm the grandpa in the box. It's got hair or a piece of grass or something right there. You know, because my daughter will call me all the time on FaceTime. So I'll talk to my grandson through the phone. So I know I'm the grandpa in the box. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But I'll take it over not, you know. Oh, wow, this picture's gonna be a pain in the ass to edit. Well, this is probably the last one we're gonna do. And then I need to go eat because I'm starving. I've been streaming about 3.5 hours, which is pretty typical for the puppy streams. Like I said, we may stream a little later. I'm not sure what. If I had to guess, it'll probably be some warships. Probably. I didn't do anything with that game yesterday. I was busy with other stuff. Oh, and ODG, are you still around here or no? Are you lurking? Oh yeah, lurking. But I needed to get with you as well on some stuff. A little bit to do with our last night's conversation. I don't know why I didn't just heal that out. I probably could have. Let's try it and see what happens. Just big old nasty swipe. Sometimes it does amazing, and sometimes it does crap like that. So, no, that won't work. And we'll straighten a lot of this out. I'm just trying to get some of the shade out of it for the moment. And this is the shadow from that leash. I knew it was going to be a pain in the butt when I took the picture, but just didn't have a lot of choice, unfortunately. Had to do what we had to do. Yeah, I don't know how bad that was gonna butcher it. Pretty bad. Great place to pull for that. Just not a good place. So I may just have to leave it. But again, as long as I can get it, it doesn't draw much attention, I'm not too worried about it. The patterning is the biggest problem with doing large patches like this. If you get a lot of patterning going on, People pick up on it immediately. And this is kind of an interesting mess here. I don't know how exactly we tend to pull that off, but it seems like all the hair on the top side of his leash was long and all the hair on the bottom side wasn't. I'm sure it's the way it was laying, but still. It's a kind of a unique situation to come across. Very strange for sure. So I'm cutting it all back. There we go. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that happened, but it did. Alright. Well, that's those. I do still have a few more dogs to edit, but like I said, it's getting dinner time for me. And all we have to do at this point is go through and edit the last few that we have. Oh my goodness. I gotta get up and stretch and find something for my belly, and then I'll come back, sit down, and probably finish editing these real quick while I eat. And then we might stream something a little later. But a nice chill stream. Yeah, it's not a problem. Thanks for hanging out and coming by. I really appreciate it. As always, if you know anybody else interested in the puppies, like to chill out a bit, bring them on over. Bring them on by. Happy to see them. Just as a reminder, I no longer stream. I no longer have a scheduled stream on Mondays. That's a thing of the past. I haven't picked the next day, the other day that will do that instead, which will probably be Wednesdays. But I haven't yet. I'm waiting for a few things to settle in before I decide. But we still, I wasn't super great about it this week, but I still try to stream when I have time. So if you guys, if you like that or you want to, come hang out so that I know you guys are interested in it, and I'll continue to do it. If you haven't hit follow, please hit the follow. That way you'll know when I go live. You can follow me on Twitter if you like to keep up with the information. Maybe something happens or I add something or change something. I usually announce it there first. But other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else very significant that has happened. Not really. I'm just really waiting on my schedule to iron out. I'm starting some stuff tomorrow that's gonna shift my schedule around. So, but we want to add it all back and keep things going. I really enjoy chatting with you guys, hanging out, doing this and that and the other. So in the meantime, thank you again for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you next time.
Combing the skies to light up the dark, 'cause I feel so alone out here in this galaxy. Inside of me, don't wanna be your enemy. No, this fallacy, it's guiding me. this galaxy in my mind I've made for you. This tragedy comes to life out of the blue. And I don't know why, but I feel most alive when I'm searching for these signs of life, in the hopes that they'll lead to you. There's a fantasy in my mind I've made for you. The agony comes to life in waves of blue. And I don't know why, but I'm drifting away from you. Oh, I'm drifting away from this galaxy inside of me. Don't wanna be your enemy, no. This fallacy, it's guiding me as it takes me away from you. And I'm drifting away from you.